Hey, grooving. Such a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, you know, it's a wonderful day here. Wonderful afternoon. Wonderful afternoon chilling, man. Feeling real chill, man. Feeling real chill.
Real cool.
Real cool.
Almost makes you want to say daddy-o.
Yeah, a little bit. Let's get in here with these people, man. I think we done let them wait long enough.
Right.
What it do, y'all? Let us know right now. Waste no time. Purple emojis in the chat if you're feeling good this Saturday afternoon, man. What's good? Here with the homie.
I want to see some Iron Man emojis if we sounding good.
Yes, that
time and let us know that. Because we've been working on getting some of these technicals taken care of. I think we got it. I think we all right. I'm seeing some Iron Man emojis looking like we good. Appreciate you, Mike Porter, Big Stevie Dub. Oh, good. Awesome.
Sketchy Eddie, I see you. Appreciate that.
It's been a while since we've done that, since we shouted the Nerd Avengers.
Yeah, man, we gotta, it's kind of hard now, man. Them numbers are starting to pop to the point where it's kind of hard to keep up. Bodacious Black Bat, I see you, says crystal clear. I like it. Awesome.
That's what we like to hear.
Oh man, JD Quest, you trust and believe we about to get into that shit right off top. We wasted no time.
I was just about to ask you about the title of this video.
Yes.
Very, very, very important question.
Yes, it is. Matter of fact, we good? We sounding good? I want to know. Y'all let us know right now. Scale of 1 to 10. I need your season finale number. Like, how did you feel? And while y'all are doing that, I'm going to take a little time and we're going to bring in our special guest.
Yes.
Because that episode was so intriguing that we had to have the big homie come on and talk about it.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm here to talk a little WandaVision with the gentleman. And I'm excited to talk about it. Look, I'm going to be real. I can sense, the mood in the proverbial room. And I can feel as though, not everybody wants me to give my full crazy, emotional, fanboyish response to the show, which I totally understand and I get. But I want to know, and maybe it'll just take us time to find out. Do you think this show is like really divisive, or is it just a few people like me out there that are really bugged by it, or do you think that this is something bigger, maybe?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think there's something bigger going on here because I'm gonna just be real. Outside of our community, like from just normies that don't really get into, participating with the online debate, I'm hearing a lot of negative shit about this one. Yeah, I'm gonna just be real. I have not talked to somebody who said that they love this series or that season finale. Not one person outside of the NerdVenture community that doesn't get it. Like, they wasn't feeling this, man. They wasn't feeling it.
Lavis, where are you at with this? We talked a little bit about it in the EP chat and all that, but where are you kind of at with it?
I still sit with, I guess with the overall, I give this about a 7.5, and that is mainly because to me they practically they got their story out, but you have to do so much. I guess this is where the expectations are, and it's not even with the leaks or anything like that. It's just your expectations from Marvel in this instance would be for you to get something that drives the story kind of hardcore. And I guess it's because after this year off, we had Endgame as the last kind of property that we got. So we're like, hey, amp it up. And so even when the story has so many holes that you step in and you can't get that traction going, it can't get any more than like a 7.5. You can get excited for the things that people point out, but the things that we were expecting because we had heard that they were going to be in there from the trades, from the Marvel company themselves, and then all of a sudden it's like it's not in there. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Yeah. So all right. So let's just get into this. I want to just kind of give just a little bit of clarification on a couple of things. We talked about this a little bit behind the scenes earlier, but the whole thing, number one, is I want to sort of stress that even like as a nerd in general, even when we're upset about things, we're still nerds and we're still having a good time. So like I've been in these situations before where like you're in the comic book shop and Superman's got a new outfit, right? And there's one homie that is devastated, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this dude, for whatever reason, man, he is devastated. This new outfit is trash. I can't believe they're gonna put Superman in that trash outfit. I can't believe what I think this means. Looks like a dress or whatever. You know what I mean? Like people just go weird. Nerds get weird about their shit, right? So like on the one level, it's like I don't want people to think that like the degree to which I am disappointed in this show or finale is indicative of anything other than just one nerd being nerdy. You know what I mean? But I really did not like this finale. And I frankly think that even if you did like the finale, you likely just, and this is going to sound whack, but I got to be real, you likely never actually had the expectation of the show being what I partially thought the show was being. Meaning all the little Easter eggs, all the little things. I had this vision that they were this meticulously like well put together crazy elaborate thing, right? And I was sort of operating from that perspective. And so it's very hard when you're operating from that perspective to get to a finale like the one we just had and have so many loose ends and so many obvious dead ends in the story that they just didn't really care about. And then to be like, oh, I guess I'm not that let down. You know what I mean? Like I've spoken to some people about it that were like, yeah, no, I always just consider those things to be little Easter eggs. I thought they were just nice little things. And therefore I was not disappointed at all. And some people have even told me like, yeah, dude, the writing was always corny. It never bugged me. It was like Darcy was corny. Jimmy was corny. It's whatever. It's Marvel. And for me, I don't know. I got caught sort of looking even too far into even some of the show's flaws and thinking there's an explanation. You know what I mean? So I like straight up got caught just simply thinking the show was way smarter and way more intricate than it actually was. And that is on me. But I mean, do you think I'm totally unfair here, or do you think the show did in some ways sell itself as this really hyper intellectual, really crazy thing?
No, so like, go ahead, Ives. I'm gonna let you get that, man. I'm gonna let you get that first.
Oh, I was gonna say, really, I think like my point was what it said is that we had that year off and then we came off of Endgame. I think what we're used to from Marvel is the Iron Man Infinity War saga. They had to go completely hard, not just because these were properties that people love, but because they was also trying to get that monetary. They was trying to get that game. They just got these IPs back. They just paid whatever. They got with Disney. They got to start turning and making their money. So looking at it from a standpoint of that, we got awesome content for the past 10 years that they went over the top on. And now that they're at that level where they can float, we're not used to seeing what it looks like when MCU when Marvel can float. So they're probably going to put now 150 in, maybe a little less on certain shows, and maybe not give us as much as they used to because we're still gonna
True.
watch. And even if that's a general term, you want to water it all the way down. That's just what it is. We are gonna watch now. We're gonna see that they can put in 50 million Easter eggs and pay off 15 of them because they're going to be doing Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, all these different streaming shows to where, okay, we take a break from these characters in WandaVision, but they pop back up in Miss Marvel. We took a break from these characters in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but they'll pop back up somewhere in maybe Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah,
So
true.
we're not used to how that looks right now. And this was a bit of a taste of it. It's like, hey, we're going to be talking high evolutionary and all this stuff behind the scenes. And look, Wanda's at Wandagore Mountain. Oh, but who knows when they're going to pay that off or in what
Right.
or when they may pay it off. They may pay it off in I doubt Falcon and Winter Soldier, but maybe in Loki we'll start
Sure.
seeing how Wanda was going through what she was going through in this version of the multiverse, and maybe see how Wanda was going through it in this version of the multiverse. And these situations are different, but they all led her to the same turmoil that she was in the timeline that we saw her in. This is a fanboy dream, perhaps, but who's to say that that's not what they do? But we're just not used to what it looks like when they're wanting to coast right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. So kind of like, basically the show did its thing. It's kind of like what you're saying is like all those threads that you more or less went way down the line with are still there. It just didn't get sort of wrapped up in the way that you're saying. That's kind of what you're saying.
Pretty much, yes. So it's like for example, okay, Ralph Bonner. Everybody's, oh my god, he's not the X-Men guy. He's not, for me, he's not the Wizard. But they didn't pay that off. They just said, okay, he's Ralph Bonner. They never paid off who the witness protection person was or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So those things are still left out on the table. People they have the theory still about the Phil and Dottie. Maybe they weren't those characters who played them, but the fact that they even flirted around with popping in things that make you want to see Squadron Supreme, those things are still actually on the table. It's just not these characters, but now we're aware of it because for some reason they may play a part in it in Wanda's story later or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those things are still on the table. We don't know about it yet, but they wrapped up what they needed to for the show.
Yeah, and I love that. And two things. First of all, we need way more likes on this video. Y'all motherfuckers is crazy with only 100 likes. Definitely need more likes. And also, I'm probably, just so everybody knows, I'm only kicking it for like 20 more minutes. I'm gonna get out of here. I've said enough about this episode. People are sick of me talking about this episode, so we're like, y'all do your thing. But I just want to say this, man. Like, as much as like I totally get what you're saying, and I'm really not trying to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be that guy. But for real, even at face value, if I grant you all those things, dude, this was just, to me, so surprisingly weak for a finale. Like, the pacing didn't make any sense. Like, there's so much wasted time with Wanda and Agatha where you're literally just doubling down on shit that it feels like we spent episodes learning already. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. There's a lot to me that even at just a fundamental level, I was like, dude, they fumbled the landing. Like, the vision stuff is great. And the heart, I here's what I will say. I will say this. The heart of the show with Vision and Wanda, and that scene with Vision where he's like, I wanted to see you in the light and all that. That scene's so powerful, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, Wanda is a heartless bitch. She was straight up gonna let him just die in the dark because she didn't even want to fucking face it. He was the one that put the light on and had the cool ass moment and shit. She wasn't even gonna tell him what he was. The more I think about it, I'm like, yo, she's not going through trauma. She's not going through trauma. She is completely in control. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. For me, if the show was meant to make me like really feel for Wanda and be like, oh man, Wanda, like that didn't happen. If anything, I'm more team sus Wanda. Tony was right. She should have been locked up in that place, and we got to figure out how to shut her down. That's where I'm at.
Hayward.
No doubt.
Hayward was right.
Totally
Hashtag Hayward was right.
They turned you into Hayward at the end of the story. And again, that means they did its job. But I got a question for you, though.
Yeah.
So we already know that practically this was not supposed to be the first installment into the MCU. We were supposed to get Falcon and Winter Soldier first, and then we were supposed to get Wanda, and then we were supposed to get Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Do you think if that timeline didn't change, that the finale either, or not just the finale, but the show in general, do you think that the outcome and how you feel anything would be different? Just to entertain that.
I mean, that is the biggest question, right? Is like how much of the show was altered because of the switch up, right? It was obviously altered. How much was it altered, right? Look, Charles Murphy is a great scooper. And I don't know for sure. We have to see, but I believe that there was footage shot of Benedict Cumberbatch for the show. Like, I believe that. So why was it cut? I don't know. Could be Lavis is onto something there, and maybe like the changes in the thing sort of took the teeth out of the show. That's totally possible. And by the way, totally okay, and I'm willing to get over it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think the loss I'm feeling is like, yo, we almost had like a perfect piece of content. Like we almost had a piece of content that like as a season you could show in film school. You know what I mean? And now we just have like, oh, that was kind of fun. And for me, that's a little disappointing, you know?
Right.
Definitely. Right, I got definitely.
What do you think about it, Al? Sitting over there all quiet.
Yeah, I was for a minute. I wanted, because look, I want Josh to be able to get it all off his chest. I want him to, as much as he feels comfortable, I want the homie to let everybody know where he's coming from, because I think that his point is very valid. And I will expound on that, but I have a question for Josh before we get into how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For you, is there a separation, and if so, how much of a separation between disappointment in the leaks and your view of the show overall?
Yeah, man. That's a great question. I mean, I've thought a lot about this, right? Like, we immediately knew that the big leak was not real right from the jump, because the episode was not titled what it was in the leak, right?
Right.
So right away, my expectation, in a sense, had been set. I think what I can't get past is like, it did sort of feel like a cosmic joke what we got as compared to what we expected, right? So like in a sense, it's like, I'm like, okay, no Nightcrawler, chill, that's fine. Let's see what Doc Strange is gonna do, right? And then there's no Doc Strange. And then it's like, okay, well, there's no Doc Strange. There's got to be some mutant explanation. Ralph Boner? What? Like, the more like I think about it, I'm like, yo, it wasn't just that I had these expectations. It was that we went so far away from where the expectations had been set. And let's be real, do the fans own that? For sure. Do I own that? Absolutely. We did hype people up. I will own that. I'll be responsible. Speculation Town, dangerous place. You know what I mean? Dangerous place. Not a good road system, a lot of potholes. Point is, I still think a measure of this falls at the feet of Marvel Studios. And I don't know what that balance is, but bro, like, you're not going to tell me that the Evan Peters thing is completely on fans. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, no way. Totally unneeded. Here's an idea. If you're not gonna like actually use that, don't do it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
okay,
just don't
okay.
do
So
it. There's no reason to do that.
On that point, I did view an interview or interviewer that did say that Feige told the writers they can't use Evan Peters unless they can make it make sense. And now I understand that the way that they ended it, it don't make sense. But do you think that he's allowing it to not make sense now because it'll pay off later?
Totally.
Because
But
that is
it's
something
kind of,
that he's quoted
yeah,
saying.
totally. But here's the thing. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in the stream earlier with the Nerd Adventures, right? Like, it's either the worst decision he's ever made or it's the
Right.
second worst decision he's ever made. Because even if that is the case, boneheaded.
Right.
You're completely not reading the room after a year off for us to have these sort of expectations and for you to make it make sense and want to dangle it over your first Disney Plus show with an Evan Peters like blue ball situation. I'm sorry. It's just not good enough for me. So I can totally get that, and maybe that is what it is. Still, to me, swing and a miss, bro. Like that's a bad idea.
Right.
No doubt. No
I
doubt.
could agree with that. Totally agree with that. All right, Al.
All right.
What do you think?
So cut the damn music. Let's be clear. Was there some level of disappointment because none of the leaks proved to be true? Absolutely, right? For me, yes. Does that have anything to do with my view of WandaVision as a series? I'll give it 2%. WandaVision as a series was a letdown. It was a letdown because it for me, it took too long to get interesting. And then when it got interesting, it ground itself right back into a halt and ended with the biggest WTF that I just watched that I could have, I never would have saw coming. So let me just say that first. Now, to these people out there, and you know who you are, that are automatically dismissing the fact and saying that people's disappointment with the show is because they set themselves up to expect these leaks to be real, and when they didn't, they wanted to pout. Kiss my ass, man. I know good content when I see it, and this wasn't good content in my opinion. This was not. First of all, let's talk about the finale. Let's get into this shit. Vision on Vision,
Right.
One of the best pieces of Marvel content we have received, in the sense that Paul Bettany showed his ass acting on both sides of that, and it was very compelling. That whole conversation with Vision and White Vision, I got serious Matrix Reloaded vibes. I thought that was Neo talking to the architect, because while I understood what he was saying, I was like, what is the point in all of this? Like, we were talking all of this in order for White Vision to basically regain his memories and be like, deuces, bitch, I'm out.
Right?
Like, he literally just left. We don't know where he went. We don't know. And please keep in mind that White Vision got his memories, because that's going to come back. That's going to be one of my major points. Please remember that once he departed, he had his memories restored to where he knew what took place leading up to that point.
Yeah, he said, I am Vision.
I am Vision and deuces.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, since we on the Matrix train, WandaVision versus Agatha Harkness, or Wanda versus Agatha Harkness, I'm sorry. That fight was whack as hell. Like, that literally looked like Neo versus Smith in the Matrix, flying around. Like, that's the best you got. That's the best that you have. And then you turn around and you say, oh, but I learned this trick from her over the span of the last few hours. And so these runes have stopped me. And guess what? I just took my magic back. What?
I was like, where's all the brains? I was like, where's all the brains that the show has had? I was like, the show's been so smart, and now we're gonna do this?
That's what I'm exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So then, so then Wanda starts to realize the impact of what she's decided to do. She realizes that in creating this hex, this fantasy reality where she gets to have the life she's always wanted and the family she's always wanted, that she's caused all of these people all of this trauma and stress. And you mean to tell me that just in that one instant, she decides, okay, it's time to bring this whole damn thing down? And in the course of bringing this whole damn thing down, that she's not going to at any point try to figure out if there's any possible way that she can have both. She's supposed to be the Scarlet Witch with the chaos magic and all of this power, but she's not going to try to figure out a way to fight and have both. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. Because the story was supposed to be about grief, right? And dealing with grief and coping with loss. What loss did she cope with exactly, though? Because if White Vision is out there somewhere with his memories, who's to say that they're not going to meet back up? So where's the gravity in her losing Vision if she might get Vision back?
Guaranteed she gets Vision back.
Exactly.
Guaranteed.
So where the hell are the stakes?
Vision back, and she gets the kids back. That's another part of this that's frustrating.
Where are the stakes?
Where's the actual struggle here?
Bingo.
I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling okay. WandaVision was beginning to feel like Brave. It was doing stuff that was felt very, very risky. Very risky. You know what I mean? And it feels like it did all of that to right at the end shuffle everything up, put it into nice, neat little piles, and set up the rest of the MCU. Which to me, I'm sorry, is just disappointing. I understand, and maybe now we have a proper expectation for what to watch with these shows moving forward. I had just personally thought that WandaVision was different. Remember all the shit we heard about WandaVision before the season?
Yes.
Dude, Feige was out there saying this is the best thing we've ever created. Brother, no, it isn't.
Nah, not even close.
Period.
Not even close.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
And again, I want to be clear about something because I still see it, and I just want to be clear. I did not expect mutants in this finale. On After Dark, hours before we got the episode, me and the homie Lavis talked about this, and we were like, you might want to have your tissues ready because you're probably going to get some emotion, but you damn sure ain't getting no mutants. Wasn't happening. Once you hit episode 7 and they hit you with, it was Agatha all along, you knew exactly what you were getting because they basically boiled it all down to it being her. So that basically lets you know right off rip that the MCU has done what they've always done, which is take a story from the comics and adapt it cinematically in a way that is digestible to the normal fan. And that's exactly what we got in this show. And in my opinion, that shit sucks because you have the opportunity now. You've built up 20 years of credibility with your fan base. You have taken your fan base to all different places in the galaxy. You've introduced stones that can wipe out half of a planet or half of a universe. How much crazier would it be?
How is this bold? I just don't understand.
Bingo.
Here's the thing I would challenge.
Bingo.
And again, if you're getting an emotional reaction to this, if you're a big fan of the show, you don't have to watch this stream. I get that too. Look, in the comic shop, sometimes motherfucker be in the corner complaining about a book. You just go to a different corner in the shop. So if you're not enjoying the stream, I totally understand. But let me just speak real for a moment more. I don't get it. And I would like to know if for the people defending the show in a really strong way, where is the actual struggle or sacrifice? I just don't see it. We walked through Wanda's trauma for what? You know what I'm saying? For what? To get an explanation? To get some cool visual effects that intrigue us and have us on the edge of a seat for another mystery? Sure. But the character itself doesn't even actually have this struggle. I don't see it. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. You're going to tell me all that stuff that we go through then leads to her having the breakdown moment before the show begins. I think that's one of the biggest flaws is they had her have the breakdown moment as the inciting incident. So you reverse engineer. It's like you're trying to Tarantino back to this big moment, but it totally takes the teeth out of it. Because when we catch up to her in the real time, she's over it, dude. She's over it. I see no struggle. This is what I said in the NerdVenture stream. She struggled the most when she felt all the people complaining and telling her how fucked up shit was for them, right? What does she do? Immediately snaps and chokes them all. Then she unchokes them, says, I'll fix it, and proceeds to start to fix it, and then just not. She doesn't fix it because of her fake ass family. and yet she just then lets her fake ass family die anyway. So I don't understand. Like, I just need to take my hand. Maybe I'm emotionally adept. Take my hand and guide me through how this fucking makes any sense as an actual character struggle. I don't see it.
I'm just saying. Look, and I'm co-signing with the homie because I'm sitting here and I watched this episode. The first couple of episodes I gave in, I think around a 6-7 for the score, but that was me being nice because I literally sat there and watched those first 2 episodes and was like, that could have been condensed into one 30-minute episode to set up the premise that she's living in
a 10-minute YouTube video.
Right.
A 10-minute YouTube video.
I don't need
could have replaced this entire series.
What was okay, so then explain to me this. Episode 2, the whole magic trick and all of the Easter eggs and all of that. What was the whole point of all of that? You gave me 30 minutes of them, again, establishing this world where none of the people in that world actually mattered. None of them. The whole thing with Herb, nothing. The mailman, nothing. The other
matter because they're all good. Like, they're just fine.
It did not make any sense when you look at how this show ended and what was making the show so incredible. And the reason that people, and this is the point that I really want to hammer down. What made people start speculating wasn't leaks. It wasn't rumors. It was the content itself. My man put together an hour-plus long PowerPoint based off of one episode and a whiteboard. Now, that is totally on anybody who chose to speculate, 100%. If you choose to go that deep into it and then get disappointed because none of it comes to fruition, that is 100% on you. But you can take that, separate it completely from your experience on the show and still look at the show and say, this didn't do it. And anybody that is trying to tell you that you are wrong for feeling that way is not taking a serious and real look at what they actually saw. I'm not telling you you shouldn't like it. If you liked it, cool. But to try to argue with somebody and try to tell somebody that their opinion is wrong because, oh, well, it's the leak culture and you just got hooked into the leaks and you let yourself down. Take a seat somewhere in the back of the class, son. I ain't got time for that. Like,
well, essentially because the show made meta attempts to talk about theories, right? Like, bingo. Come on, man.
Bingo.
She's literally talking about how she has theories, but she needs more. You got Wanda man. And all them watching the show talking about how they're captivated and all this stuff. The fourth wall references to the audience and the fact that we were so into it was a part of the show. It just didn't pay off to anything. Like, that's the thing. Like, and maybe I'm being a little harsh there. It does pay off in some ways. But the thing is, I think we were led to believe that it was just a way smarter show than it was. I'm sorry. I just feel like the ending was so lackluster. There's so much wasted time. There's so much wasted time in that finale. I don't.
Yes.
It feels like they were like, well, we'll make this one 50 minutes just because, yeah, that's what people want. I'm like, no, dude, there were episodes, there were like shorter episodes that felt better paced in the season prior. You know what I mean?
Right. And to answer Mike Halls, appreciate the super chat for $5, man. No, my opinion is totally okay. And you are not wrong for liking it. That is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying if you liked it, cool. Don't tell me I'm crazy for not liking it, though, because there are things that I can specifically point to just like you can, or anybody who enjoyed the show, you can point to. And I had this conversation with Fanjexture. Shout out to the homie. I don't recall Fanjexture saying anything when it came to the leaks, the rumors, any of the speculation whatsoever. So when he comes to me after the show and he says that he liked it because he took it at face value as an emotional journey of Wanda's dealing with grief, I'm here for it. And I tell him, that's cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but here's why I didn't. And that's the way it works. I'm not trying to convince Fanjexture that he's wrong, but Fanjexture nor anybody else is going to try to hint or insinuate that my opinion is influenced by leaks and rumors that I already knew weren't going to happen.
Sure. Yep.
We knew this. Like you knew, like Josh said, once you got the title, you already knew.
Yeah, we knew.
We knew
like,
it was.
Okay, nope.
So at that point, my expectations, whatever they may have been, were wiped completely off the table because I already knew we weren't getting what we thought or what people were trying to tell us we were getting. So that has nothing to do with that. At that point, I'm simply looking at how are they going to wrap this show up? What are they going to do that is going to basically achieve what Kevin Feige, White Suge himself said, which is that WandaVision is going to be a necessary watch in order for me to understand what's going on with the MCU moving forward. Please explain to me what part of WandaVision I would absolutely have to see, other than the fact that her powers have evolved, that I'm going to need to know moving forward into the MCU. Because I'm not seeing it yet. And now, again,
Well,
this is
it's beyond. Yeah. So what's crazy to me is it's, and again, like I'm gonna get out of here soon, guys. Don't worry, I'm gonna get out. I know everyone's like, get him out of here. He's shit all over.
Hey, we here for it today, boy.
Done.
Let's do it.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Okay, I'm moving stuff. You know, it's gonna be fine. I'm into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're gonna turn this shit around. Everybody relax. Now listen, it's worse than that, Al, because it's not just that there's nothing in here substantive. There's not even anything in here eye candy wise worth revisiting. The closest thing is Monica walking through a weird ass wall. I can find that on YouTube.
Hey, you ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying. I mean, there's, and it's, again, somebody tell me, like, be real with me. Give me an episode that you'll go back and watch and tell me why.
Why would you rewatch?
Because
that's a great question.
I
Exactly.
like going
great
back
question.
and watching the Halloween episode. I watched the Halloween episode because my man Vision coming down them steps looked like he was ready to go out and ball with a cape on and hot sauce everybody. Like I got little small things in that episode that make me want to come back. And mind you, I'm a person that does not rewatch things. This episode or this series has actually made me go back and watch a lot more things because you guys not liking it for a right now thing, I think is the biggest thing of why you guys are disappointed. And that's the biggest thing I'm getting out of a lot of people who are disappointed about this season series, whatever you want to look at it. There's things that they wanted to see going forward, but get it now, and they didn't get that. And that's the most disappointing from what I'm hearing. But I've going back, it's make me comb over a lot of things that right now, while you guys are like, oh, fuck this show, blah, 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 they're going to have properties come out that I'm going to wind up hitting you guys like I did with the Snyder Cut. Like, oh, okay, see, WandaVision. Oh, okay, so you don't know about that? You know what? WandaVision. And I can guarantee you they're going to tie it in. But it's just, like I said, you guys want things now. And that's why I've been sitting here quiet, because a lot of the things you're like, okay, well, the writing and the story and it went this way and that way. It's because, one, I feel the pandemic had a big thing about it. It probably did change some of the things that we were going to get right now. But we have to be able to take that and push that toward the future. And that's why I asked, like, would it be different if the show was the complete same and we got Falcon and Winter Soldier first?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because I'm pretty sure Falcon and Winter Soldier first was going to be dope regardless. I don't see nobody complaining about that show whatsoever, because it's going to be the action you want, the story you want. Even if something stupid in that thing happens, you're going to be like, yo, but that's dope though. At the same time. And then you got WandaVision and you got this story. You'd be like, okay, this is a good show. I see what they did with it. You would appreciate it for everything that you did appreciate it for, and you wouldn't boss that. But because this is the first show, you didn't get the mutants payoff, which you'll probably wind up getting in Falcon and Winter Soldier. You didn't get all the payoffs that we're looking at this show for, because it's the first thing out the gate, and it just happened to beat them in production.
So, okay.
I think that was a bad decision. That's probably what you mean by the first or second decision that he made that was bad. Should he have still waited and let Falcon and Winter Soldier come first, and we just bitch about being off for a year and a month, or taking out every year?
I see what you're saying, but Al, you got something on this, right?
So, but my question is this: what's wrong with me saying that I don't like the show as much as other people because of the fact that it is one of the first shows that we've gotten for the MCU in over a year, and I feel like it didn't meet my expectations. Like, and that has nothing to do with the leaks. Like, there's nothing. No, that's what I'm saying. Is like, to me, the argument that I am getting back and what I'm seeing in the chat is that, no, you're just pissy because you didn't get what you wanted. Is that not the intent of entertainment? Yeah. Like, again, people that love it, cool. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not trying to argue with you that WandaVision isn't a good show. What I'm saying is, and I had, again, real quick, and I got you, Josh. I had this debate with FanJexter, and this is what I told my man. I said, I don't watch MCU content or Star Wars content to get character development focused only. I don't want to see I'm not looking for superb acting. I'm not looking for a transcendent performance in a show about witches, synthetic beings, and mutants or potential mutants. That's not what I'm looking for. If I get it, cool. But I want the fantasticness of the story from the comic book standpoint to be the draw, not that other stuff. To me, that's ancillary. So for me, when you're gonna give me a show that is at this point, for what I can see and for what everybody is applauding it for, more of a story of her journey through grief, miss me with that. That's not what I want to see, especially as the first thing that I got from the MCU since Endgame. Like, nah, that's just not doing it for me. So, hey, you can say what you want to about why that is. That's just it. Go ahead, Josh, though. I'm going to let you get it, man.
No, man, I mean, like, I feel both sides. I think, like, essentially it's possible we live in a world where in a month or 2 or 3 or 4 we look back and we're like, okay, now the WandaVision things makes a little bit more sense because they're doing this and this, and I do agree that it just feels like something about that finale feels off and likely could have been altered because of the pandy or whatever, or just pulling Doctor Strange out of it because his movie's now not only gonna end cap phase 4, but it's also going through a lot of changes, so there's always that. But I will say this, Marvel in some ways promoted this show as being a sort of new thing that Marvel was trying.
Yeah, I agree.
So like in some ways they were like, we know we're Marvel, but we're making this new very clever thing. And your mileage may vary on how far you feel they pushed that and how you feel that expectation was created by fans, whatever, your prerogative. My point is they sort of sold us as this is a new kind of thing at Marvel, and it definitely didn't really feel that way to me. It felt like it pretended to be for a while, and then it arrived at a place that that Marvel tends to always arrive back at, which is okay. I'm comfortable with that, but don't sell me that it's different this time. Don't sell me sweet little lies. Like, I'm okay with the Marvel by paint by numbers. I've been a fan for years. But when you sort of sell me this pseudo intellectual, this new kind of thing, critics are really up on it. Holy shit, the forum's coming into a new taking a new elevation or whatever. Like, miss me with all that. No, in my opinion,
Right, yeah, I guess, yeah, I can agree with that. 'Cause it sounds pretty much like you're saying it's like, okay, you told me that we were going to get this. If they said they was going to give you a big ass mystery thriller, nobody was going to be able to figure out who the killer was and none of that stuff. But the only reason why we weren't able to figure out who the killer was because you hit us with a lot of low end details. You misdirected on purpose. The story kind of made sense in other areas, but not in this area because you didn't want us to know about it yet.
Right.
Like, that's not a good mystery thriller, as opposed to you can't figure out it was the best friend because it was Agatha all along. And that was the difference. Like, if it was Agatha all along and she's the best friend, that wasn't a twist, really. Like, everybody knew it was Agatha all along. And the little misdirects that they would throw in that said it was Agatha all along wasn't a mystery. Essentially, you know what I'm saying? So I get what you mean. A lot of the things that was coming out of it wasn't what they sold to
and
you.
Notice that I didn't even touch on characters. I didn't say anything about Hayward. I didn't say anything about Ralph Boner. I didn't say anything about Darcy. I hadn't even gotten into that part yet. We ain't even started talking about the obvious troll that was fake Pietro. Like, we ain't even say nothing about that yet. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you don't think that was a troll, even if it does get paid off later on, that was still a troll. That was still a troll. The dude literally looked in the camera and was like, Ralph Boner. Like, basically, they was like, gotcha, bitch. Like, literally. You know what that was? That was Luke Skywalker throwing the lightsaber out of his hand at the beginning of Last Jedi. It's like, wait, what? Like, y'all,
I know,
y'all. That's where we going with it. Okay, again, you can make those choices, and that is totally fine. They are not obligated to have Pietro pay off. That is on us, but that is also on me if I choose to go. That shit is weak, man.
For sure. Well, here's the thing, right? They made a bet with that, right? They made a bet where they were like, okay, most of the Marvel fans are going to consider this a lighthearted joke, and the fan hurt or the butthurt fanboys aren't going to be that butthurt. Bitch, watch because
Watch.
I'm super butthurt. And so here's the thing: I'm gonna try to be as chill as possible, but yo, I'm like not even kidding. Bitch, watch. So we'll see. You know what I mean? Like we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe we are in the minority here. I think we're just gonna have to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if anything, White Suge underestimated the conversion of normies to sweaties by the time we've got to WandaVision. Like, I don't know if they realized just how much even the average person was looking for some connective tissue. And even if you get that later on down the line, for this to be the first property that drops and you are hitting people with troll jokes.
Oh, bro, watch. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's no love lost over here. Like, motherfuckers ask me in a live stream, they're going to get what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if we're, I'm on someone else's show, they're going to get what it is. They ask me on Nerd Theory, they're going to get what it is. I am furious. So, hey, that you did that. You know what I mean? Y'all did that. So, let's see. Let's see what happens.
Hey.
Anyway, I try to go.
All right. It's been fantastic having you.
Yes,
it's been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. I'm definitely not that upset about it. I'm trying to be cool. So, yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Love the show. I'll be watching as I drive to the new facility and all that. So,
no doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you, man.
All right, brothers. Hold it down.
Of course. Deuces.
All right, y'all. Quit triggering the bot in here. Y'all got so many comments.
Hey, we're gonna bring the music back for a minute. Here, now we can calm. Let's all calm down. Let's all take a breath. Let's all just relax.
Yes, this afternoon.
Hell no, damn that. I still want to get into Fietro because that's some bullshit, man. Like, look, I get it, okay? We all and let's just have this conversation, man, because I feel like we need to as a family discuss this. Does our content play any impact into setting people's expectations or setting people up to let them down? To a degree, yes. But at the end of the day, how you receive content is up to you. If you enjoy it, cool. If you don't, cool. But there is a conversation to be had when you have a market number of people bitching and complaining about the same elements. You can sit here and say, well, look at the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. Absolutely they do. But when you go and you listen to people's conversations, there is something to talk about when you have a significant amount of the community saying, I don't know how I feel about that. That means something did not necessarily go over the way it was intended to. If you've got that significant of a part of your demographic going, that shit was whack. And that's literally what that was. Again, when you decide that you want to bring Evan Peters into the show and you make, I won't say they made a big deal about it because we made a big deal about it. That's on us again. But you know that there is going to be an expectation that means something. Now, if you decide to, if they wanted to do that whole episode and be like, nah, my name is Sam Sampson, cool. But you made the dude Ralph Boner, and you made it into a joke, and you basically pulled a Ryan Johnson on people. Like, let's just call it what it is. You pulled a Ryan Johnson with WandaVision, and people ain't like that. And that's what gets me, is it's like, you White Suge, I know you know better, dude. You've been doing this for 20-something, like 30, 40 years. You a GOAT. You GOAT status. But come on, man. Like, why would you do that when you've built up such credibility with your fan base? Why would you, even if it was a troll shot dedicated to the sweaties and the theory crafters and everybody else, why would you want to even risk alienating those people? Like, why? There's nothing about WandaVision that makes that a hill to even die on. Like, that's just not a good look, in my opinion. But again, some people might have looked at that and dismissed it. I'm cool with that. That's fine if it wasn't a big deal for you. it wasn't something that ended up affecting my enjoyment of the show. I thought it was BS, but that, you notice when I talked about why I didn't like the show, had nothing to do with the Ralph Boner joke, had nothing to do with character development. I felt like the show started and ended on a low note. The first, second, and last episodes are the 3 lowest, in my opinion. Episode 4 was spectacular. Coming in with that cold open, them showing Monica Rambeau's journey back from the snap and all of that, that was dope as hell. Watching the whole thing, her transformation going through the hex and all of that, incredible stuff. The fourth wall episode, incredible stuff. And then we get to the end and it's like, bro, what? Like, y'all played this safe as hell. Why? You don't have to play it this safe. And if you chose to do that, that's cool. But for me, I'm like, nah, I want to ratchet it up. Now, another thing I'll say is this, and I want to get your thoughts, homie. But my thing too, I guarantee you that we won't be talking like this about Falcon and Winter Soldier. We won't be talking like this about the Loki series. We won't be talking about this probably about any other piece of Marvel content moving forward. And maybe that's the point, because they dared to be different with Wanda. That's cool. I have no problem with that. For me, it didn't land where I thought it was going to. And a lot of that, you could have, let me just say it real plain, real quick. You could have taken out the Evan Peters thing. They could have revealed Evan Peters to be the Fox Quicksilver. They could have very well said that. You could have even had Doctor Strange pop up at the end of this episode. I still wouldn't have liked it. And that's me being a buck, keeping it a buck. I still wouldn't have liked it, because for me, everything that they kind of tried to make the show out to be in those middle episodes, they just shoved it aside. Somebody, again, explain to me how Agatha ends up trapped in the hex, but the hex don't exist anymore. Like the spell. She's in the spell. She's in the spell, thinking that she's
put her under
a spell. But like, I'm like, okay, so she's just wandering around this city that don't exist now, just thinking that she's in it. Who the hell is she gonna be talking to?
No, okay. So essentially, what Wanda did to her was the spell that she had put everybody else on inside the hex. The hex is what made that possible for her to be able to do that. It was putting these people in a dome, essentially, and subjecting them to her power is practically what she did.
Okay.
What she did to Agatha was just a simple spell. So that was kind of the theme and the thing about the whole what Wanda does. She doesn't have to say whatever Latin phrase to enact a spell. Like if you notice how Agatha
I got that. I follow that. Yeah.
Right. She could just innately do it. So she left her under the same spell that she put everybody else on, and just let everybody else go. Practically.
So essentially Agatha's just walking around.
She don't think it's 1950s. She don't think it's nothing like that. That's just her persona now. She changed her personality. Look at it that way. She made her personality into the nosy neighbor that she was during the time she was in the sitcom.
Okay.
So now she will always be that nosy neighbor who's always popping in, she'll just be that person now. That's her personality. She's no longer Agatha Harkness that has 400 years under her belt. So that could pose questions for her. I don't know how much or how intricate that spell was. Did she give her an entire backstory? So when people ask your date of birth, blah, 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 is she going to be able to spit these things off? Or is she going to be able to adequately deflect? Like, those types of questions are open, so you would say, but what you're asking is she's under a spell.
So essentially, she's under a spell that either only the Scarlet Witch can break, or somebody that has access to chaos magic can, right?
Or essentially, not. It doesn't have to be chaos.
Oh, some type of somebody understands. Okay. So
like Doctor Strange could possibly could set her free, or who, like how Vision was touching him, and he would release them from her spell.
Okay.
People who have that ability can bring her back. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question then, because you are the more of a sweaty in this realm than I am. So I'm gonna play completely dumb right now.
I'll answer as best I can.
All right. So
call
now,
me out if I'm wrong.
With Agatha being the case, do you feel like that is a waste of a character? If Agatha If Agatha's relegated to that,
really.
You think that's just like a stash scenario where they would bring her back?
That's a stash scenario.
Okay.
I think anybody would probably be a little foolish to think that they would do that to her and not pay that off when it mattered. And that's most likely going to be Doctor Strange too.
So you think that Agatha will be released from her spell sometime in Doctor Strange
by Doctor Strange 2. I could see them, even if it's just a small payoff. All she does is answer a question, and they put her right back underneath it because she's fucking crazy. Or they realize who she is, and they're like, okay, maybe her being under this spell is a good deal. We'll put it back. One of the two things. Or she'll come along on the adventure. I really can't say. You know what I'm saying? Like for sure, like expect that to happen. But I would say for some reason or another, you can expect Agatha to come back. And not even okay, so you're thinking about it like, okay, she might have, or excuse me, I'm saying it as if she may have only significance in Doctor Strange, but that could not be the case. She could be, like I said, they're in Jersey. We know they have a couple shows that's taking place in Jersey. So a lot of these characters, or especially actors that had speaking parts, that's how I look at it. If you have a speaking part, there's a good chance you may be significant through whatever, especially in Marvel. You know, and if it's unless you're just a character that we know just drove that story. So people like I said, like Agatha, she's a well-known actress, so you would think that they would bring her back in some kind of capacity. So I could see her being in Miss Marvel. They could pay the Easter egg off to her being somebody's nanny, even though she's not Reed Richards' kid's nanny or Franklin Richards' nanny in this moment. She could maybe be a babysitter now. She's a fucking nosy neighbor babysitter, and that still plays into her character because in the comics she used to babysit for Franklin Richards, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? And then then have a bigger significance later. But I feel in this last episode, a lot of what they did was stash. They did a lot of stashing.
Okay,
and that's what pissed people off.
So, exactly, that's exactly what I was about to say. For my taste, there was a lot of bait and switch in this series, and when you have, for my taste. Again, I'm not talking about you sitting at home participating in the chat. We appreciate you in here. I love all the comments, positive and negative. Keep that shit coming. I'm not talking about you, though. I'm talking about my enjoyment level. I don't get a kick out of shows or movies where you introduce the idea of characters and then tell me that I'll find out later on how important that character really, really is. And if you want to say, well, they've done that the whole time in the MCU, no, not exactly. Because the original way that they were doing things in the MCU was you got some sort of an origin story, or you got an allusion to a character, and then you got an origin story that basically explained you up to the point where that character actually showed up. Like Spider-Man Homecoming. You got his appearance in Civil War, then they gave you Homecoming to catch you up to where, like, why he was in there in the first place. That is the formula that the MCU has given. Now, if they want to deviate from that formula, cool. But for my taste, I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy a 9-episode arc that took you in all of these other possible directions, only to come back to, in episode 7, no, I really was Agatha the whole time. And then when you get to the end to say, oh, this Agatha who was pulling all of these strings and everything else, now like she's trumped because the Scarlet Witch, her power is just infinitely greater than hers, and so we just gonna stash her though until we need her in another movie. That's not entertaining to me. Has nothing to do with leaks, has nothing to do with rumors, has nothing to do with, oh, they didn't say the word mutant. All of that is secondary to why I didn't enjoy the show. So again, I'm not saying anybody is wrong for having found any enjoyment in this show whatsoever. But for my taste, I am almost willing to bet my nerd coin that that Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki will be right up my alley, and I will be on here going, White Suge is the man. And I will even take that as far as to say I think that there will be things in Doctor Strange 2 and in the Spider-Man 3 movie that connect back to WandaVision and make some of the things that I had issues with make sense. Right. That being the case, it still won't take away from me the slowness of the first 2 episodes and the safe landing that we got in the series finale. That to me is why I have the show at a 7.5. And just for frame of reference, because I was doing this with the homies in the After Dark chat yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
I said Mando season 1 was an 8 for me. Season 2 was a 9.5. Because for me, you got an incredible start. You got a better than average ride in season 2. And then you got the ending of all freaking endings in season 2. That and not every episode or not every show can do that. Not every show can do that. I get that. This is a new show. They're establishing a new kind of dynamic. So it's going to be different. I totally get that. It just, for me, it didn't do it for me the way that it did for a lot of other people. And I think the fact that we are in this particular environment or this community where we do discuss leaks and we do discuss rumors, I think it makes it very difficult for some of the community to understand that it is still possible for us to separate our enjoyment from our expectations. Yes, that is a thing. And you almost have to learn to do that, especially when you have this, when you are in this position. I'll give you another example real quick. Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker, I knew pretty much, we knew the plot to that movie at least 3 months before that movie dropped. I mean, like, major plot points. I'm talking about the whole Ben and Rey teaming up, Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter, Kylo Ren getting yeeted off the cliff, like the whole nine. I knew that months ahead of that movie. That did not take away from my enjoyment of that movie as a Star Wars fan. Yeah, the movie sucked, but it was a fan service. What it did was it allowed me to reconcile my disappointment with where it was going to be, and then I was able to go into it and enjoy it as a Star Wars fan, and realizing that the movie was trash, realizing that the movie was nothing but a fan service nod to clean up the mess that Rian Johnson made. But I don't walk around going, oh, well, it was great because they did this, and the movie was trash. But I still was able to get some enjoyment out of it, having known full well what was going to happen, because you have to separate yourself if you're going to participate in communities where there will be leaks and there are going to be discussions about these leaks and there's going to be spoilers. You have to be willing to accept that and understand that you might not necessarily get what you think you're going to get, because again, this is all still speculation. So for me, it's like, it trips me out, homie, that I see so much like heat coming this way, because I'm just like, I'm just one man with an opinion. Everybody wants to tell me I'm crazy or that the homie Josh is crazy. And we're like, nah, man, like
that's just a testament that people have to just accept what opinion is, an opinion. Like I'm not going to sit here and try to change your opinion of the show. To be completely honest, I'm not too far behind you, but I just have different reasons for it. I don't really look at WandaVision as, oh my God, this show was a blow away show for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy it, and I do like it for the elements that they put in there, and it kept me guessing. Even if the answers toward the end, either one didn't get payoff or were obvious ones, and there weren't too many elements in it that I was like, oh my God, it's completely obvious. But at the same time, like I said, I'll bring it back to what I said earlier. This is just a testament to us not being used to what it looks like with Marvel being able to coast. They have 5 years worth of properties coming out. They have so many different things that they can do to make you interested in watching the next show. And I just feel like the reason why people are reacting this way to WandaVision is because it is out of place.
Now, I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to say this with the homie on the line because I didn't want to trigger him any further. But I do disagree with Josh in the sense that this doesn't taint in any way my view of the MCU or White Suge. White Suge is still that dude. And just because they dropped a show that I wasn't over the moon with, doesn't mean that all of a sudden I think the pitchforks is going to be out for the homie and that people are going to be watching Falcon and Winter Soldier with a side eye. I think the sane people are going to realize that WandaVision was an attempt at something different. Nothing more, nothing less. And that, Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be probably the return to typical MCU content that we're kind of hoping maybe and expecting to get out of WandaVision. But this is not, it doesn't mean that because I'm down on WandaVision that I don't think the MCU can produce good content. Like, no. Oh, I got you. And then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say no, because Mike Porter gave us a super chat and asked me what I thought was better out of WandaVision and Coming to America 2, which I watched last night.
Oh, I didn't see that yet.
WandaVision was definitely better than Coming to America 2.
Oh my God, really?
Let's just be clear. Let me tell you something. Let's diverge a little bit and let's just say I'm not gonna spoil anything about Coming to America 2. But please go into that movie understanding that you were watching that movie strictly because you were in love with the characters from the first movie. Do not go into that movie trying to compare it to the original Coming to America because you are going to be disappointed. You will be disappointed. From an enjoyment standpoint, it had some moments. It was kind of funny, but it was exactly what I was expecting to get, which was a sequel that probably didn't need to be made, but the characters in it were funny as hell.
People kept fucking asking for it.
Look, Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are still every bit as funny in this movie as they were in the original. I will say that. But outside of that,
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, no, me either. I wasn't either. And WandaVision for me,
when they made Barbershop 3, like why?
Exactly. Which there's actually an allusion to that in the Coming to America movie. They actually get meta and talk about that exact conversation in the movie. It's worth watching. I will say that. WandaVision though was a little bit better to me because of the fact that like WandaVision at least was. I'm still holding out hope that WandaVision and that it was necessary. That this show needed to be told in the way that it was told to set up what we are getting moving forward in the MCU. So for that reason alone, I put it over Coming to America 2 because WandaVision was at least necessary. Coming to America 2 wasn't necessary.
Right.
It was not necessary. No, it really was not.
Yeah. Well, see, again, I guess when it comes to, in my opinion, any property, there is the difference between expecting to be entertained and then being entertained by your expectations. If you're going to walk in and you're expecting to be entertained just simply because you know the characters or people who are in it, who created it, have done it before, then I feel like you'll have more of an open and better interpretation of what it is that they deliver to you. But if you go into it with your expectations entertaining you, then you're going to almost always be disappointed because the way that you would have put it together and did things or however the case is not how another person essentially is going to think about doing it.
100.
And I think that's kind of an issue. And I'm not saying it's just what you're doing, Al, or anybody in particular, but I do know that some people are out there and they
without question
their own expectations, and that's to them the reason why these things or this property is not the best, and that's not a way that you should look at.
No, I agree with that 100%. And let's be clear for those of you in the chat that have been making this point since we went live. There are definitely people out there that are strictly saying this show sucked because they didn't get the payoffs that they expected to get and that all the leaks were proven to be false. I totally understand that there are people out there on that shit. I am not one of them. That's all I'm saying. We at this, with this channel and what we try to do on our show is we try to give you our honest opinion to the best of our ability in this crazy world that we live in today about whatever we talking about. So when I get up here and I tell you I didn't like something, I didn't like it. Right. I'm not going to get up here and tell you that because I want to get more views or I want people to flame me or I want to start, having that battle back and forth. No, I might gas it up a little bit. Like the Fietro thing, yeah, that really pissed me off, but I wasn't it wasn't something that's why I didn't talk about that right off the rip. Because the Fietro situation wasn't enough for me to make or break this show. Having him be a mutant or having him be from the Fox universe wasn't enough to make this show great. So to me, that's a secondary point. But what makes this so fun for me and makes this so fun for the homie is that we get up here, we get to see all of these opinions, and we get to interact with y'all and talk about this shit and hear perspectives that we didn't necessarily think about. Like Lavis broke it down with the whole thing about, people from the expectation standpoint and saying, hey, look, some of this might be getting paid off later on. And we can't judge this show completely until we've gotten all of that laid out. There are, MCU movies. I mean, look at Age of Ultron. When Age of Ultron came out, people wasn't really high on that movie. Like, it was mixed. It was mixed. But now you go back with all of the context, and it's like, oh, everybody's like, oh, Age of Ultron is dope. Like, that's because you have the context now and you see where it's going. Now you realize that was the first movie in the MCU that dropped Endgame, the name Endgame, where you first get, like, they told you way back then where this was going. And you realize that only after you have gotten to the finish line. So WandaVision is a part of a race that we still ain't finished yet. I totally understand that. The presentation and the way that WandaVision put together was what didn't do it for me. That's just, and I'm not even on it to the level that the homie Josh was, in the sense that, like, I'm not necessarily taking offense or pissed off at some of the acting. I think some of it was corny, but that wasn't even what did it for me. It was just the fact that, for me, this show started off slow and it ended off slow. The middle was bomb, but, like, when you have a shaky beginning, from my opinion, and a shaky end, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I think WandaVision was a 9 or it was like the greatest piece. No, it wasn't, because that was Mandalorian for me. Like, Mandalorian season 1, Mandalorian season 1 was not like 8 bomb episodes of content, but what Mandalorian was it was something different, and it was a proof of concept that you can turn Star Wars into episodic content and it'd be interesting and give you a storyline that ties into the overall story of Star Wars and gives you something new to try to get into. WandaVision didn't do that for me, because all it did was, essentially, if you think about it, right, at least as of today, all WandaVision did was level up Wanda and Vision's, like, evolve them to the next iteration of themselves and introduce Monica Rambeau, pretty much. That's what we've gotten so far. Now, that might change later on, but I mean, let me ask you this question, homie. Looking back on it now, we talked about it back and forth. Where, in terms of content, then I'm not just talking about MCU. I'm not just talking, MCU Star Wars stuff that we cover, but just streaming content overall. Does WandaVision crack your top 5 in shows?
So, okay, I'm actually glad you asked that, because that was definitely a question that was actually going through my mind just now. I'm actually, because you've heard me make this kind of a joke earlier, but it's kind of serious. I'm actually kind of curious how many people are comparing this to shows or writers like Greg Berlanti, because I said to you before, I think people, and I've said it in the WandaVision spoilers on the Discord. If you're in on the Discord, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Get your ass to that Discord, man.
I was saying that, like, I think people are kind of spoiled by certain storytellers or writers, and when they compare it to WandaVision, or at least how they're going to be doing things over at Disney, where does that rank? Like, are you more of the, because to me, I guess I've been watching so many CW shows that I did like as far as I watched The Flash, I did watch Green Arrow, I was a little bit into Supergirl, shows like that. And then, I do like Titans, I do like Doom Patrol, and there are other streaming shows that are on HBO Max, but those are typically kind of written by the same person. It's written by Greg Berlanti, and some of the twists that he can put in his stories based on what properties he's able to use, and that's really, it seems, what limits him is what they're able to let him use because of how WB does things. Sometimes it gives it, like, I'll say Titans is better than WandaVision in my opinion. I would actually go back and watch both seasons of Titans and be more amped and ready for season 3 of that than I would go back and rewatch WandaVision compared to a show like that. So, and that's what I'm saying. So that's kind of a question I actually want to kind of put in the chat, because, like, how many people would go back and watch Doom Patrol season 1, season 2 again? How many people will go back and watch things that are not Marvel related? And is Marvel actually on a good? Do people think that WandaVision set the streaming bar? Is WandaVision something that you should look at as a bar for them, or do we still kind of sit back and look like, okay, well, this wasn't supposed to be the beginning. That technically wasn't supposed to be what we got now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did change a few things, but I would say they maybe only changed about 5, maybe 8% of it, which is really not a lot throughout the whole thing. They probably just took out parts
Right.
that alluded to certain cameos.
Well,
That's probably
I
the
think they
only thing that
definitely
they
took
changed.
Strange out. Like I'm
That's
just
what I'm saying.
yeah, Doctor
That's what I mean.
Strange, and I don't have a problem with the fact that they did that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, so I'm saying. I feel like they took out things that, like, if he was definitely supposed to be in it, I feel like they took him out, and that's why I say about 5 to 8%. His part being in it was about a good 4 to 5% of importance to whatever original story they were telling, and they probably took out that and any little thing that alluded to him being on the show and turned it into just a WandaVision show because they knew it was going to be the first show that was going to be done in production over what they were doing at Falcon and Winter Soldier
Mm-hmm.
through that year. And that's the reason why I think it didn't come out in December like we were all waiting for it to. It got pushed to January for whatever reason on their production end or because of what they were changing, whatever the case. They needed that extra time. And it just to us looked like, okay, they're just starting off the year this way. And like I said, like I think that people would have looked at it differently if we got Falcon and Winter Soldier first. Then we just got to see the story that was never told about Wanda. Because for a lot of people, the reason why I feel a lot of people still like it and then like it in the 9.5 area is because those are the people that were like, what the hell's going on with Wanda? Like, what happened with Vision? What, she just got snapped back? And because this is a question I even had. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those questions and having a story in this streaming episodes or this streaming season got answered. And we can actually move forward now and not wonder about what the hell's going on with these characters from that point. And I think that's what they're going to be doing with this phase. They're going to be answering a lot of those questions of what did Endgame affect? What happened during the effects of Infinity War? And that's why you're going to get things like Shang-Chi and stuff like that. They're going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit, answering all these questions. They are allowed to do that.
Right.
And not only that, we're going to be getting things like Eternals. You know what I'm saying? They're going way back before any of this even mattered in the first damn place, and then trying to show how that is. So that's again, it just reinforces the point of we're not used to seeing what it's like. One with them taking a break, because usually like who was pumping out anything 10 years straight that was continuity wise. You probably got maybe 5 years or something like, okay, the best and the only thing that we have that we can compare this to even close is to, in my opinion, the Nolan trilogy with Batman. That is the first 1, 2, 3 movie we got with the beginning and end of a character arc.
Yeah.
Compared to Marvel. That was good. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
That was good. There's a whole bunch of other chains out there. We got Sharknado 1500 coming out soon. Like,
hey, don't sleep on Police Academy now.
So, don't sleep on Police Academy. Well, I'm talking about like in recent.
No, I feel you.
I know we got other things that shoot Home Alone 4 and 5. You know
man, stop it.
Right, but that's like, there's no other company out there that has 10 years worth of connective tissue. I have to say it, than Marvel. So that year off, it made things a little shaky.
Yeah.
So now they're coming back. They pretty much have to start that locomotive train up all over again. I don't feel like WandaVision was the necessary hot coals to get it started. I feel like WandaVision at least got them spinning. They're not where they were, but they're not as far ahead as they thought they were gonna get off of that steam. That's what I feel like. It's not a horrible show. We will go back and look at this and be like, WandaVision can be appreciated for the elements that we got out of it because of all this other connective shit that we got afterwards. It's just going to take some time to get to that point. We just left the station, and unfortunately, we don't like I said, we don't like where we're at right now. But the good thing about it is we only got to wait what?
A week or two?
A week. You know what I'm saying? We only got to wait a week, and then we get bombarded with a whole bunch of different content, not just from Marvel. But
exactly. Then it cranks up. But this is the beauty of why we get up here and do this shit, because we get up here and we get to talk with y'all about how we feel, and y'all get to tell us if we crazy or if you co-sign it, and that's the fun. It ain't nothing personal. Like, I see some of the chat coming through, and it's like, man, if it's that serious for you, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you might need to go see somebody, but it's not that deep for us, man. Like, we get up here, we are connected to these things. We nerd out for this stuff just like you. But at the end of the day, just entertain me, baby. That's all I'm here for. Let me get some good content, something that gives me something to talk about, and don't hit me over the head with like obvious stuff, or don't troll me because you are trying to do something that nobody's ever. And I'm not even talking about WandaVision when I say this. This is more of a Ryan Johnson right now. But like, don't hit me with that kind of bullshit. Like, I don't need all that. Like, don't try to outthink me. Just give me good content. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
I'm gonna say this: WandaVision, or at least what they're doing over at Marvel, is good enough that whether you hate it or love it, I don't see nobody in here talking about we should talk about Bridgerton. I don't see nobody in here talk about we should talk about some of these Netflix shows that just started. I don't see nobody in here talk about none of that. They're like, yo, you crazy for liking it. You crazy for not liking it. This is why I liked it. This is why I hated it. You got Josh freaking out. But I don't see Josh talk about, I'm going to go back and watch Bridgerton because WandaVision was so horrible. I keep using Bridgerton because I hear it's a good-ass show.
Be careful now, because we don't know what Josh got in store for Monday's stream. And the way the homie was talking, Josh might come in here and be like, you know what, this is no longer a White Suge channel.
Nope.
Like,
Josh
was low-key heated, bro. Like, Josh had some issues with Wanda. Josh has some serious issues.
He's on a seesaw right now.
Oh man,
he's down on that seesaw, but he'll be back up.
You know what this is though? You know why he got all this venom for it, right? Because he ain't directing any of it towards Star Wars, man.
Exactly.
My man need to look. Maybe if he would talk a little more Star Wars, then he'd have an outlet for some of this anger, and it wouldn't be so pent up. And so when you got Evan Peters looking into the camera going, Ralph Boner, like, it won't set him off like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly.
That moment was a little weird, and that's the reason why I think that it has more to it, because he had a whole envelope with a headshot in it and different information.
Oh yeah, without question, man. That's another reason. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's why I didn't take so much. Like, yeah, I thought it was kind of I thought it was a troll move, but the reason I didn't like factor that into like me evaluating the show was because I realized two things. Number one, whether or not he was the Evan or the Quicksilver from the the Fox universe, it wasn't going to change anything with this show. Like, it wasn't going to be, that was going to be a setup for a payoff later on down the line. So that's not, like, I wasn't looking for, when we were talking about Mephisto and Nightmare and all of that, none of that was going to serve to make this show any better. All of it was set up for later on down the line. So that's why I didn't focus on any of that with my critique of the show. It's more, again, about the pacing of the show and the way that they chose to begin it and end it. That being said, maybe, and this is something we got to think about, maybe this was White Suge's plan the whole time.
Right.
Because when you look at a show like Wanda, it's like you said, and this is something that I just kind of was thinking about as you were talking. Wanda is one of the few Avengers that didn't really get an origin. Like, we know where she came from Age of Ultron, but we didn't know really about her powers or anything like that. So she was one of the few people that hadn't had that. We know Black Widow is coming at some point, so she's gonna get her just due. Hawkeye, he kind of got his in the first Avengers, I think it was. So, and nobody really cares about Hawkeye anyway, so we're just gonna leave that alone. But
really?
look, I was just trying to get you.
I'm not even gonna front. I don't even know what the hell Hawkeye is supposed to be about. I don't even know about Hawkeye that much. I just know people be sleeping on him.
But my thing is, Wanda was kind of one of those characters that it's like, okay, we kind of need to give her some, especially if you're going to bring her in and have her play a big role in Doctor Strange too. She's got to get a little bit more context. You got to build her up a little bit. So how do you do that? Like, you can't do a Wanda movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was the story that they told had to be told in this type of a medium. Like, you had to have an episodic situation, at least in my opinion. And I think that in the sense of explaining her story and explaining her powers, they did that. Like, no question. Like I have a better understanding now of what her powers are, where they come from, and what the significance of them are. Right, exactly. With this show. So mission accomplished. But what I'm thinking is maybe White Suge knew that he was in a lose-lose in this situation. And maybe he realized, well, you know what? Either way it goes, I'm going to be backed into some kind of a corner a little bit with this show. So we going to play it safe. But by playing it safe, it's going to throw so many people off that they ain't going to help but be talking about this shit anyway. Because at the end of the day, we have to remember they ain't doing this because they love us. They doing it because they love this. And in the end, controversy sells. No matter, and we talking about Disney. You have to find ways to manufacture controversy when you're a company that wants to try to keep it squeaky clean like Disney. Now I get that that's changing a little bit more with the time, but Disney is still Disney, and we know this. So
I would say I think Feige has to, he has guidelines he has to stay within, of course. But I think when it really comes down to it, it's like I do agree with you. Okay, maybe he was backed into a corner. It was like maybe a lose-lose. And it was the better decision to drop off with WandaVision first instead of waiting a whole nother, But at the same time, though, it's like who's really? I don't think Feige did it because ultimately he's like, okay, I just want the money. Because I've like I said, I'm getting into a lot of actual interviews, and in the interviews you can take a little more face value on things of what people say. And there's quite a few people that say when they meet Feige, he's got them toys.
No, like don't get it twisted. What I'm saying is I'm not talking about Feige. Yeah, Feige. Right. But that's what makes it so great is that Disney, the company who employs Kevin Feige, was able to find somebody who actually loves this shit and is good at putting, his visions, making his visions or empowering people to bring his visions to reality. So from the Feige level, Feige's basically the kid in the room with all the toys in the box, basically creating whatever stories he wants to. But at the end of the day, the reason he has a platform to create those stories is because those stories is generating big bucks for the mouse. Like if these movies wasn't selling, then would nobody be checking for it like that, and Feige wouldn't be able to have the leeway to do some of the stuff that he's been able to do creatively with these movies and with these properties now. So that's what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, we have to remember that there is still a bottom line that needs to be met. And however they meet it, whether that's us getting on here raging about what we didn't like or getting on here raving about what we liked, it still generates content and intrigue, which equates to money at the end of the day. So maybe, just maybe, White Suge knew what he was doing the whole damn time, and we just all along for the ride again.
The people want to know. So
hey man, I was gonna go and ask you myself because you making me hungry.
Right, and I guess I'm gonna be advertising for a little bit for somebody.
I see that. Yeah, there you're on freeze. This was not planned, everybody. This is not product placement.
I have no idea why it's decided
that moment. Man, like right in that moment, it's froze you. See, look, this is
hilarious.
They trolling, man. Look, they getting us. Like straight frozen.
I'm gonna have to mess it up for a second.
Oh no, you good, bro. Do what you gotta do, man.
I don't know why I did that. I have no idea why I did that. But
he's like, I did not try to intentionally place that product up for everybody to see.
I did not do that.
I did not. This boy got Cheeto Gate going on now.
Right. We watched. They saw that coming. He's about to do it.
Was like, get him. This is our chance.
Screenshot.
Oh yeah. Like dead. Hey, I told you it's just like Josh would do with them bottles, man, when he be sitting there taking them long sips. I'm like, man, look, you trying to get them that paper. I see how you're doing it.
It's the after effects of us coming out of that Wanda Feige nebula.
So let's kind of get here. Now, at the risk of sounding like I'm a glutton for punishment, let's do a little speculation.
Oh man.
Because we know how WandaVision ended. We know where we are now. So where do you think her story goes from here? Do you think that, somebody like Nightmare, Mephisto, Chthon, something like that's going to be somebody to step in and corrupt her power?
If we're getting into the shits, finally, this is the shits that I'm waiting for. I'm tired of saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm ready to talk about what the fuck
It's
we
only
about
been
to get
about an hour. It's only been about an
and
hour.
a half, right? That I have. But no, okay, so we're finally getting into the speculation shits. Okay, so I have a few things that I will say I believe are 100%, don't care what nobody else thinks, and I just think that they're obvious to me. But Chthon, definitely the big bad for Wanda. I know a lot of people say, oh, it was simple, it was cheesy, but that's the great thing about it. I'm washing it down with purple drink, JT. By the way, had to answer that $5.
There you
I
go.
had to have, but no, okay. So definitely Chthon big bad. They put too much emphasis on the chaos magic
Mm-hmm.
and walking you through Wanda's childhood at a point. If you notice, she didn't take him all the way back to how she was born or none of that stuff.
Right.
They took it back to a adolescent time. Maybe she's about 11 through 13, perhaps. Um, and just the time in which they kind of introduced her story in the MCU. We know as far as not seeing it, but in words, that what we did see in episode was that 7 or 8 or whatever, whichever episode she walked us through, uh we got to see it for once.
Right. Right.
But they teased even in that when she was about to reach out and use whatever kind of power, they yanked her before they showed any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to me, if you look at that in face value, that was the first sign like I saw we're not gonna get mutants because they didn't even entertain the idea that she had powers at birth. And what does that lead to? A mutant, technically.
Right.
Most mutants have their powers at birth. So that's how I knew and wasn't disappointed about that. But anyway, they emphasize though that the fact that there's a book in the dark, pages in the dark hold about her, the chaos magic, and kind of alludes to the fact that she says she is using chaos magic. She didn't say she was born with it. She didn't say she was molded by it. She just said that you are using energy, and we all know how energy is used, at least in the MCU. It comes from either another dimension or your natural surroundings or somewhere cosmic. Uh, so with that being whole, and the dark hole being created by Chthon in the first damn place, and the lore of the Scarlet Witch, and again, shout out to, what was that, Mark X marks the spot? Is that who did the cipher?
Mm-hmm.
Who that was? Uh, with him doing shoot, I didn't even know there was a cipher going on. So him cracking that and it leading to lore. Lore is the possessed version of Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
So that is pretty obvious on who the big bad is. If you want me to speculate on how the story might go, because it's Chthon, they ended it with her astral projecting and reading the Darkhold.
Mm-hmm.
That could be for a couple reasons, and then she hears her kids. That could be for a couple reasons. With her astral projecting and just sitting outside and possibly being at Wundagore Mountain. Wundagore Mountain is where Chthon was being held at. That could actually even stem back to the Ancient One being a very ancillary part to putting him in that mountain in the first place.
Right.
So where they ended at, it's speculated between it being either Sokovia or Wundagore Mountain. I'm going more Wundagore than I'm going with Sokovia. I feel like they would have to have a lot to fix up. It wouldn't be no beautiful lake left after what was ripped out of the ground. Like this trees, and it's like, oh, this has to be Sokovia. I don't believe she went back to Sokovia. I don't see why she would go back to a place that gave her so much anguish after accepting everything that just happened. I don't see her doing that.
I got you.
So yeah, she's probably where Chthon's being held at. He probably has the power to be able to. He has the power to manipulate the grounds in which he is at. So I think that's where she heard the voices. From there, her hearing the voices, we're not going to see any of this. Not at first, I would say, in Spider-Man 3. I think Spider-Man 3 is going to show the effects of her initially messing with things in the Darkhold that she has no full understanding of. She may be smart enough to learn like Doctor Strange is, as far as when it comes to innately knowing the magic, because now we know she has a piece of the Mind Stone that resides in her. That's another important thing to take of. Yes, the Mind Stone presented itself and it showed her who she was in the future, and that's what we got paid off in that last scene when she finally becomes the full Scarlet Witch. But the Mind Stone implanted a part in her, and that's even at the time when she was just shooting little wiggly woos, was just her knowing or feeling like she knew what the Mind Stone showed her upon waking up at that moment. But all this other stuff that she did, she wasn't able to do until she finally was able to, I guess, in essence, let go.
Right.
And now we know that she is able to do that because, again, then that'll have to come out maybe if they start entertaining mutants more in other shows. I think that's why they didn't entertain it in this show, is because you're kind of getting the concept of you if you look at it honestly, you honestly just watched the first season or series of a mutant.
Yeah.
That's what we actually got, which is why we didn't get mutants in here. Wanda is a mutant, but it's just not it's not explained like that yet. It's just, okay, you got this innate power and all that stuff. So I think Spider-Man 3 is going to be the beginning of us seeing Wanda messing with stuff and possibly releasing Chthon, because she is now diverting from learning about herself into learning how to access these different dimensions, because she heard voices of her kids from one of them. She might not know which one it was.
Right.
But she's going to investigate and find out. And that's what begins the multiversal issues.
Gotcha.
That happens in Spider-Man 3. What's up? What you got?
No. I was just saying, I think you onto something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that happens in Spider-Man 3. And this is the reason why Doctor Strange is coming into it, because Spider-Man is starting to experience these issues. And I think that has like a double play too, to where they'll probably wind up giving, or Sony will pick up Tom Holland's contract now that it's over. And because he's slated for his own movie and a cameo movie. And it makes best sense. What it sounds like is going to be Doctor Strange 2, with Doctor Strange being in his movie. So he pulls him to come help him for whatever reason, or it could end with Peter even getting sucked into the multiverse because of what's going down, and Doctor Strange just being the dude to pick him up and save him, because Doctor Strange practically lives in New York. So he's going to just, wind up having to help him. But then when we get into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, again, chaos magic, madness, then we'll get the full story on what the hell was going down in Spider-Man 3, because I don't think Spider-Man 3 is going to be a continuation of the it's going to this is what I was thinking going to do with Spider-Man 3. I think it's going to be half and half. We're going to get what happened in Spider-Man 3 after Far From Home, and then something in there is going to break or mess up to where he gets pulled into a timeline of sorts, and that's going to be resolved. But in the end of it, he's not going to come back to that reality. He's going to get pulled into something else. And that's why I think that is the reason why they were talking about a Madam Web movie. Gotcha. You have him go through all this multiversal stuff in Madam Web, and that's why there's no way home, because at the end of it, he's not going to end up back in a resolved issue. He's going to end up in some kind of multiversal issue with Doctor Strange. And then they're going to show you in Doctor Strange what the hell Wanda was doing this whole time, why things got messed up, what they got to do, blah, 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 blah. Of course, my details will get a little watered down because we're talking about March of next year. So
yeah, there's so much
really seen the trailer,
right?
So I'm not gonna go expect 100% of what I'm saying, but I can see the storyline going along those lines.
Gotcha.
Pretty much. And then at the end of that, you get what happened. Did they resolve all that with Chthon in Doctor Strange 2, or they could possibly not resolve it in Doctor Strange 2 fully? And then you get WandaVision season 2, like I've been saying.
See, now I was just gonna ask you about that, because you said you got the bet with Godfather for the nerd coin. Y'all put it on wax, so we already know that this is official. That you are betting that there will be a WandaVision season 2. My question to you was, and I think you just answered it: do you think, after having seen the WandaVision finale, that there is still a possibility for a WandaVision season 2?
Most definitely. Actually, even if they answer a lot of these questions that are left on the table in other shows, again, I was going to even fanboy this. What if I'm gonna add this show. This isn't a show that I think he'll probably be in, but it's a good possibility. White Vision could pop back up either in Miss Marvel or Armor Wars. One of those two could have him pop back in, give him a bit of a side story, show what's been going on with him since WandaVision a little bit, even if it's just an episode or two. We just touch on that and he flies off again, too fast. Decided this motherfucker. And then we could again either pay that off in WandaVision, or we could, or excuse me, in Doctor Strange 2, maybe because one of the things I'm thinking could possibly happen is he comes back in WandaVision 2, and this is probably cheesy, but they do an X3, and Wanda is over there just pretty much messing everything up. Talk about no more mutants, blah 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 blah. But here comes White Vision, and after his time off and learning who he is and who he wants to be, with the memories, he remembers why he fell in love with Wanda in the first place, and seeing her doing what she's doing to hurt everybody is hurting him. She gets what she wants back, and having a physical vision to love, and he's independent from Sword. They're not gonna be able to control him, and she also gets the kids back. In the end, we already know we're getting Wicked and Speed, period, because they're going to be in Young Avengers. They've already talked about that, so you can look at it as
well. Now hold on, now.
Look. Thing. Yeah. What?
Now we can't be talking about these leaks and these rumors because we set people's expectations, and then when it doesn't happen, they come for our heads, and we create these mobs.
There ain't nothing I said in here that Feige didn't say himself.
Hey, bro, I'm just telling you what I heard from the streets. The streets is talking, and they telling me that it's our fault, that we the ones be gassing people up.
And I think, like y'all been saying, how you take in your content is how you take in your content.
Hey, bro, okay. I'm just I'm just looking out for you because they definitely in the chat saying that it's our fault.
Hey, I'm just sitting here and then being a nerd and speculating with people on how I feel Doctor Strange and Spider-Man 3 and how it would go into a season 2.
No, I totally get you.
What I'm saying.
Look, I hear you loud and clear. I hear you.
I'm the dude that told y'all Snyder Cut was coming to HBO Max 6 months before y'all even got the confirmation that Snyder Cut was coming. Period. Okay.
I'm just man, because I care. I try to look out for, and I'm seeing super chats. I've got super chats with people coming in, which we definitely gonna get to the super chats. But I
got them because I've been over here ranting.
Nah, I didn't get them either. So is this gonna be the episode where we actually missed them?
Oh no.
Because bruh, I was not there today. Y'all just gonna have to forgive me.
Last thing I got was my man JT asking me what I was washing it down with.
I want to address. I do want to address somebody's comment real quick. The homie Brolin Deeps, appreciate you interacting with the chat. Hey, we love Broke Vengers just the same. My man said, hilarious how Josh needs to get this off his chest when he's been bitching for days now. Bro, you don't even know the half of it. You don't even know. Like, Josh, even on today's stream, was tame AF, my guy. Like, Josh ain't here for this WandaVision shit no more, man. Like, y'all best be careful talking WandaVision around the homie, because he ain't feeling it. Yeah. I don't know if WandaVision hit that Star Wars level of I don't need this shit, but Josh ain't here for WandaVision very much anymore. Like, I feel like this was Rob. I'm sorry, man. I thought Josh hit me with the I'm only here for 30 minutes, man. I thought if we'd have been able to get into Fietro, I think we would have seen Josh like actually show up on screen and destroy the afternoon set. Like, right. But we couldn't get him to stay, man. It's a busy life being, the captain of the Nerd Vengers. Josh is definitely working on them changes, man.
Working on them changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. We gotta let him be able to put that energy out into them changes. Then out here for you guys.
Hey, I feel like Josh was going pretty hard though. Like, scale of 1 to 10, chat. Let me know how hard do you think the homie Josh went today? Because I thought he was like
Josh rage emoji.
Like, exactly right. Exactly. Like, I feel like Josh was like, Josh was pretty heated about that situation, man.
Right. Well, to his credit, you gotta remember he spent time in the comic industry, and he went to film school. So there's a few different reasons why he gets triggered more than most of us other people. You know what I'm saying? Because he's had the history of being into these things and seeing them be developed and having his own kind of I think didn't he make a comic?
Yeah, he did. He made a few.
He's invested. He's very invested.
Yeah, without question.
Something like this, and it just brings him back to them days where
and I think
he was in the room making changes.
And I don't think, and I don't want to speak for the homie, but I think part of it too, though, is you got to remember, man, this is somebody who sits 5 days a week and entertains the people, the people, with these, these theories and leaking these and giving this news out, not just because he's into it, but because obviously the community is into it, because the people respond to this stuff. So then for it to basically, even though it wasn't necessarily his leak, for content creators that were leaning on this stuff to then have egg on their faces because none of this actually happened, that's rough, because it's tough. It's tough because then you've got to get out here and you've got to explain or try to make something out of this situation that you thought was going to come out completely different. And that can be like, you got to understand, man, that's a hard situation to have to deal with when you've got, a community of people that are expecting you to come out and basically shepherd them into whatever's next. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be real about it. It's just like, y'all come here and kick it with us, but like, you come here and kick it with us because you want to know what we think about some shit. So we have to be very careful in how we evaluate things, because we can't just act on emotion. Like, I would have loved to got on here and like flip the hell out and been like, WandaVision was ass and like every episode was trash and that ending was trash. But no, I have to really be thoughtful about it and think about what it is about the show I didn't like, and realistically say, you know what, if I give it an objective review based on valid points and not just an emotional reaction, this is where I'm at with it. And I think what gets people like Josh, people like myself, and even people like Lavis from time to time, what triggers us is that we go through all of that effort to give you our true and unbiased opinion in a way that is digestible. And then you still have people come for your neck because they like, nah, you just being a crybaby because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. It's like, nah, man, like my opinion is deeper than that. Like, you got to give us more credit than that. We're not just going to get up here. Y'all come fuck with us because we give you the real stuff over here. It's not a whole bunch of gassing you up, telling you all this stuff, and then backing out of it once we get proven wrong. No, we own our shit. But at the same time, we separate that aspect of our enjoyment from what we actually enjoy. So no, like Josh was up here giving you that real. And trust me when I tell you, it is very, very hard to contain your emotions when something triggers you.
One or two things is going to happen with WandaVision. Either people are going to go back and be like, okay, I appreciate this more now, or they're just going to forget about it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. And that's again why I keep thinking about it now and thinking to myself that this might have been the plan by White Suge the whole time. Because if you put this show out knowing that it's going to be controversial, knowing that it's going to be something that people talk about on that level, you eventually, you can say, okay, well, I'm going to put this out first, and I've got all this content behind it to hopefully cover up some of that, backlash because of the creative choices we took with this particular piece of content. Or like the homie Lavis said, it could be the long play where it's like, no, we'll put this out first and let people react to it, and then by the end of the year, once they've gotten, X amount of content to kind of help fill in some of these gaps, then they'll go back and actually appreciate the show more for what it set up. That could very well be the case. But again, taking it at face value from what we've gotten up through so far, like it just wasn't that for a lot of people. And that has to be something that is discussed and looked at, because we're not just talking about a handful of people crying over some leaks that didn't prove to be true. People have real issues with some of the things that were presented in this show. And that's what we're here to talk about. We can't just get up here and lie to you and be like, everybody loved it. Like, that's just not the truth. That wouldn't be genuine.
I mean, I even have a positive standpoint on it, and I didn't love it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying I hated it. And that's what's so crazy. And that's what was getting me. Yeah. That's what was getting me yesterday with some of the conversations I was having. It was like people were challenging the idea that I didn't think it was the best show ever. And trying to attribute that to the fact that I wanted the leaks to be real. It's like, no, man, like it's different. It can be different.
I see player 2 in the chat trying to be like Two-Face. Lie to us, Lavis.
Lie.
Like I lied.
like I. I'm telling you, man. But this is so fun to me, man. These are the episodes I like, bro, because this is when we get into the shits. Like there is no room for emotions. You got to be able to remove that and not get your feelings hurt because somebody coming with that real. And another behind the scenes, real quick. Nice try, Adam, but it didn't work.
I just say he's over there.
Nice try, Adam. Adam been on one since yesterday. Like Adam was intentionally trying to like upset a nerve yesterday. Like I had to really step back and realize, no, I think Adam is really coming at me. He's just here for the smoke. He want the smoke so he can just sit back and enjoy the results. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give it to you, Fanjecture. I'm not.
Right. They don't know about it.
And Ant-Man is still better than Winter Soldier. I'm gonna still stay it for my taste. Yes. Yeah, you can look at me like that all you want to. Give a damn about no Falcon.
I'm gonna let the people take care of this. I'm not even.
Hey, look, I'm getting flamed already, man. I'm looking at the two-way. I see what people been saying. It ain't, look, man, my skin is like my waistline, thick as shit. So I ain't tripping, bro. Like I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping,
that's
man.
why I dislike you sometimes.
I'm just saying, bro.
I dislike you sometimes. What you thinking, man? You want to get into this these super cheats?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. And look, while we
people been saying,
while you do that, definitely, we gonna definitely get into that. I'm gonna do this one more time. This might be the last time you hear this motherfucking song.
We're blaming Catherine Hahn, or excuse me, we're blaming Agatha for why it was, because it was her.
Her all along.
Why the show ain't good? Like everybody else wanted it to be. It was Agatha's fault.
Oh man, what we got though, man? Let's get into these super chats.
Let's go off the rip from the beginning. It's gonna take us through time. We got OG fan with the $5 holla. Thank you, sir. He said, as a Marvel normie, them flavor crystals got my tongue stuck. This WandaVision and the hype on the Dead Nerds Live got me excited. I could become a Marvel fan. White Suge playing 5D chess. Finale felt like checkers. Hashtag TLJ. Yeah? Yeah, it sounded like he was on some different shit.
Definitely.
On this one. Definitely playing, I don't know if he was all the way up on the 6D yet. Because I know he playing 6D chess. But it sounded like what he was doing was a bit on that 5-dimensional. But I mean, we can lose a dimension, can't we? We got enough coming.
Oh, yeah.
We got the bodacious Black Bat said, people need to understand going forward with the D+ shows are like comic book tie-ins to big comic crossovers. They connect to the main but aren't essential. It's also true.
I got you. No doubt.
There's a bigger story. There's a bigger story at hand.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got Mike Mother Flippin' Porter.
Sir Glass Half Full himself. What's good, man?
Yep. He says, Sir Glass Half Full did like the finale. However, I didn't like the boner joke. No Easter eggs paid off and no Doctor Strange. So I'm happy and sad. Well, Mike, actually, they did pay off quite a few Easter eggs. They did drop a White Vision Easter egg. You totally got that. They did drop a Wonder Man Easter egg. They paid that off in different ways. So you got Vision and Vision fighting at the end. But Vision kind of, when he touched him, is the reason why he got all those memories. He was unlocking what was already in there. So you could kind of say it's as if they implanted memories back in Vision. Just they didn't do it with Wonder Man or go through all that stuff. They can still do that in the future though, because Vision gets destroyed like 15 million times in the comics. So it's okay. And there's just other Easter eggs that you'll just maybe have to wait for to get paid off. Mike Porter. But we love you, man.
As always, my guy.
As always. He's at the door for a reason. Inviting the rest of you nerd vengers in here with all the love and support that the den is built on. You got Rogue Soul with the $5 holla. He said, Boner Troll and leaks aside, they expect me to believe that Agnes sensed the hex, but the Sorcerer Supreme didn't? Nah, man. Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna go back and watch it because it is a little ambiguous for me as well. I'm not entirely sure if she was saying that she sensed the hex. She was in the basement when she was talking about this, and she said, "When I came here and I sensed this place." She didn't say when I came here and I sensed the hex. She said when I came here and this place. So I don't know if she's exactly talking about the hex or if she's talking about the basement or that little catacomb place that she was in, because obviously she took over somebody else's house and she's been staying there. So I feel she said her mind was never open to Wanda ever. So I feel like she's already been there. She was a neighbor, and since the beginning when it first started, she was always trying to figure out how the hell Wanda was doing what she was doing in the first place.
Right.
And that's why she pops up even in the first episode. She doesn't know who the hell she is. She introduced herself, blah blah blah. Hey, what's going on? What's the deal? Are you a fellow witch? Are you in here doing the same type of shit that I was planning on doing? Like, or are you just living? You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. You didn't think you're the only witch in town. So I feel like she's been there. Perhaps the reason why Wanda or even Vision, who bought that house in the first place, was drawn there was because of that energy that's in the basement with the dark hole, because she's the Scarlet Witch. She was probably just innately drawn there by lineage and story. So a lot of different things in there. So slow mo got next. Slow mo 1203 with the $5 holler.
Appreciate you, man.
Fans paid more attention to the leaks than the show itself. People wanted an MCU movie ending instead of an actual TV series season finale. Right. Exactly. That's just my point. What I was saying. What do you think about that?
I disagree though, because it wasn't that I was looking for an MCU ending. Like, I knew this wasn't going to be Endgame. I knew this wasn't going to be Civil War. I knew it wasn't going to be Infinity War. What I was looking for was something that made me feel like we were moving into the next phase of I still don't feel like this has really catapulted us anywhere into where Marvel or the MCU is going next. That's not to say that it was completely useless. I just don't feel like this was what I was anticipating, not because of leaks, but because I'm thinking, okay, we've got 9 episodes to where they can really tell a story. They can interweave and connect dots and the whole 9. Let me see what they're going to do. And they didn't do that. So for me, they didn't up the ante at all. Hell, for my money, some of the special effects weren't even on par with some of the others, even some of the early stuff we got in the MCU. Like, it just wasn't in some instances. Some of it was incredible. Watching Monica go through the hex and that whole thing with you seeing different versions of her, that was amazing. The whole white Vision on Vision, dope. I wasn't feeling that fight with Agatha and Wanda. I just wasn't. There were some other things in the show too that just didn't really, from a special effects standpoint, just really didn't do it for me. But no, I feel like it wasn't necessarily the anticipation or the expectation that it was going to be same old MCU. It was, or MCU movie style. It was just that I was expecting it to raise the stakes more than it did. I feel like they played it a little too safe.
Right. Yeah. In some instances they did. It was up and down. And there's probably a demographic in there that feels, there's probably all sorts of demographics that feel mad ways after this show, which is still good.
That's what it's supposed to do, though. It did its job.
Are you not entertained? Is this not what you came here for? And then everybody's like, a little bit.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right. We got the Joker Wild with the $5 holler. Thank you.
Appreciate you,
I don't think it's a coincidence that they didn't pay off the witness protection, then use a known Quicksilver as a gag with a new unknown character. I don't think that that's a coincidence either. I think there is a whole reason why it went out that way.
We will have to wait and see.
Yep, exactly. See what we got next. And Q Coletti, he gave us a $9.99, but he didn't have anything to say. He was probably just trying to get some of that coin.
Appreciate you, man. Hope you was able to cash out.
Yes, sir. We got $4.99 from Nerds at the Round Table. Said, Dan Rickman says Doctor Strange scenes were cut. Also, I agree. What Josh's view of the show is.
That's what's up. I think the Doctor Strange thing, and I think the only reason they would have cut that is because of the reshuffle and the fact that now those movies are going to be spaced so far apart. If you give people a Doctor Strange cliffhanger that they waiting sometime into like late 2021, 2022 to see, like that's not, it really doesn't serve any purpose. So I can understand why they took him out if they took him out. But I would have liked for him to have been included.
Yeah. I would have liked it too. I think it probably would have been better if they just left it alone, and then had to deal with the explanation of the shuffle being, what really happened in real life. I don't think anybody would have penalized them for that. You know what I'm saying? If we had to wait for a cliffhanger with Doctor Strange to get the multiverse of madness later, I don't think anybody would have penalized them for that. But honestly, my point a long ass time ago, and I think that's the reason why for the shuffle, not necessarily the pandy, but like you were talking about this. I think the news that came out about what they were doing at Fandom and trying to do their own multiverse and getting Michael Keaton and stuff like that. To me, the fact that they got Michael Keaton casted, and this is back when we were talking about Mobius. Anybody even talk about Mobius now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think the fact that they got him casted, Marvel already knew what WB and all of them were trying to do over the time that they had off. And that also attributed to the reason why they moved certain things around. I don't feel like it was just because they had a year off and decided to try to reshuffle things for a new 5-year plan. That's not what I think. I think WB was hard hitting with some of that stuff over there. And it was like, yo, maybe we need to go a different way about doing this. So even if there does pop off, we still got some good footing in the direction that we're trying to go. Because you got to think, they're in the beginning of this multiversal stuff. They really ain't touched on any of it at all. So it's kind of hard to tell where WB is going to pick up, and if it could actually rival what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? You always got to be wary of that. There's no moment in which it says WB won't come out with an awesome piece of property that people are like, okay, this is MCU level. You know what I'm saying? That could always happen.
Right.
So anyway, we got Big Stevie W with the $5
Stevie Dub, appreciate you.
He said, add one line to Pietro's last scene. Did the professor send you? And we're all feeling different. We totally feel different if he had mentioned anything about.
I honestly though, I wouldn't, and that's what I want people to like really understand. It's like for me.
Yeah, loosely. Feel different.
Yeah, feeling different. Yeah, feeling different from the standpoint of it. Some certain things would have made more sense, but I still would have felt like that this show like just dropped the ball in certain areas for me that made it not as great as it could have been. I'm not saying it was a bad show. I'm just saying it could have been better. That's
right.
All.
Yeah, agree. Right. There's like what you said, 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5.
2.5. Right. So there's 2.5 of growth that they could have.
That's it.
Could have made about this.
That's it.
So I agree with that. I give it 7.5 too. Our reasons differ, but we still arrived
at the same.
We have arrived at the same.
Exactly, and got it popping for sure.
Yep. All right. Nolo with the $4.99. Thank you, sir. He said, leaks aside, I think episode 9 was not as good as the rest of the series. It was a fine ending. The show was great to me, but the end was lackluster.
Respect that.
I agree. I respect, and I have to agree with that as well. It was not the best. It was to me, it was a very expensive CW ending. Very expensive CW ending. We got Nerds of the Round Table with the $2.99. He said White Vision in Armor Wars. Yeah, see, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I could see him also popping up in Armor Wars.
No doubt.
It would be for a good show on that. And like I said, not even if he popped up for a moment as a villain, but wasn't a villain in the end, that would be really cool to see too. Sheev the Wise with the $4.99. So Wanda threw her magic at Agatha purposely and missed, and then when it hit the walls of the hex, it created her runes. I got ... after that. So I guess maybe we were saying something, and perhaps he was telling us how that went down. Yeah, that's what she did. But I think that's again a part of the problem that Josh is having with the show. It's like, okay, well, yeah, they're showing you that she can learn on the fly, but like, just the fact that she would do that, and that's the way that she beat Agatha, is turning her own thing against her. Is like, I think you would more or less accepted it better if she had beaten her some other way. I guess when it really comes down to it, she had found some other more powerful or smarter way to beat her. Which I think the room thing was pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie, when I watched it, I didn't entirely see that coming. To be completely honest, I was like, well, damn, she was just like, she's pulling a Hulk moment right now.
Yeah.
And telling you to take all my power, and I don't want it, whatever. And she's hitting her with it, and then she tricked her. I got a little trick too. So it hit some people, it missed some people. That's all that is. We got Drum and Company with the $4.99. Thank you. He said, I think Ralph Boner is Jimmy's missing witness, and he's actually Pietro, because why would his closed caption read as Pietro and not Ralph? For that, I think of course they would of course put Pietro instead of Ralph, because the closed captioning is going to go with the theme of the show. They're not going to reveal even whoever creates, even if it's not Disney themselves. I know fanjexters in here like, Disney doesn't make their own. No, we know whoever is doing it for Disney is not going to put Ralph plainly. Now, maybe not here in America. Maybe in some other country, it was like, oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares. This is Ralph, y'all. Okay, Ralph, not Pietro. Even though she's saying Pietro, it's Ralph. Maybe they did that somewhere else, but they're not going to do that in the closed captioning. They'll probably wind up actually getting sued in ways, because that would be them revealing things that, of course, Disney goes through so much to keep under wraps. They wouldn't. They probably screen it, but they ain't messing with all that.
Right.
So they'll probably put Ralph at the end, like when she unmasked him. I think maybe at that part he's talking about, it still said Pietro instead of saying Ralph, and that's just because, again, they're not gonna go back and just for that one moment put Ralph in. They got him transcribed in as Pietro, period. At least that's how you recognize him on script anyway. And she's the person that reveals who he is, and that was it though. After that, he was like, he laughed about the name, and she was done with him. Right. So they weren't going to put no more money in and changing his name for one moment. Yeah, that's too much. I think a lot of those closed captionings are digitally made by whatever company anyway. So they was getting their money and running. Let's see. We got Nicholas O'Vale, or is it O'Valley? I like O'Valley because it ends with an E.
There you go.
So, but anyway, he hit us with the $10. Thank you. See, y'all expected Clone Wars season 7, but forgot this is season 1 of the series of MCU shows. I wasn't a fan of Ahsoka season 1. We already get Ahsoka season 1? Did I miss something?
He must be in a different dimension.
Must be. He said, I wasn't a fan of Ahsoka season 1, but she grew over time, just like I expected shows to get it. Was he talking about like?
He's talking about when she first showed up in Clone Wars.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. So let me touch on that one for just a second.
Yes. Have fun.
Season 7 Clone Wars and WandaVision are in two totally different places, because number one, you're talking about 7 seasons in on the show, and season 7 was a season that nobody even expected was going to come out anyway. So that was just icing on top of the cake, period. So completely different. WandaVision is not only the first, piece of content from the MCU post Endgame, in terms of now that we're into this new phase, but it's the first piece of episodic content that they're putting on streaming service that's directly tied to the MCU. Like, this is official MCU, not like an extension like the Netflix shows were or anything like this. This is supposed to be part of where the MCU is moving forward and part of that story and that connective tissue. So they're two totally different things. Two totally different sets of expectations. Again, WandaVision, for me personally, there was no expectation coming into the series because I didn't know what we were going to get. Again, even the advertisements and things like that didn't really set me up for failure. Like, and Josh feels like the way that they kind of hyped and marketed it set it in a different place. Not for me, because I really didn't pay too much attention to all of that. I looked at the show straight up, and that was what it was for me. It just didn't do it. Just didn't do it.
Exactly. Two different things. All right, so we got Alonzo Law next with the $4.99. I completely agree with everything y'all are saying. I feel Marvel labeled this show as the best thing they've done based on the style not the story. I will agree with that.
Yeah, I will too. I think that, from that was the one thing that they did kind of lean into, was the fact that this was going to be a whole new type of experience and something like you've never seen before, which in some aspects it was.
It was,
but
some aspects.
I mean, it seems like when you get to the end of it, it was different just for the sake of being different. It didn't seem like those differences served the purpose of pushing the plot forward at all.
Right. I feel like you said, yeah, it was different for the sake of being different, and just because it was so different, I feel like they didn't really know how to tie it back into the now. It was different in the elements that they were going through, the times and all that stuff. But it's like when they finally got to present day, to where the story was going to get wrapped up, they just really didn't know how to be like, okay, that's all, folks. Right. That's practically what you got, was a that's all, folks kind of ending. It wasn't really too much to look forward to, unless you're like a normal or a sweaty like I am, because we watched, what was it, Pop Culture, the comics, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he's completely fucking excited about the future of WandaVision, because of Chthon being the big bad that everybody is looking forward or looking to getting.
Yeah.
And like we say Chthon here. To be completely honest, I know the story of it and everything, but I don't know his power level. I don't know some of the things he might have done to even get put away. I just know he's a bad dude that they put away in the mountain. You know what I'm saying? But he's excited. So I feel like that means there could be big implications on seeing something like that live action. So I'm excited too. Alonzo Law came back with the $4.99.
Appreciate.
He said, I don't really think these stories need to be set up so slowly anymore. In the bag of MCU, it made sense. Yeah, the beginning of MCU, it made sense. But now we deep in it. Give it to us now. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's what people want.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe about the show, is that you kind of like spoon-fed us into this and kind of overtly gave certain details away or hinted at certain details that did not really contribute to the overall plot, like in terms of pushing it forward. And I feel like we are at a point in the fandom and in the MCU where we don't need the training wheels anymore. Like, you have, like, even if this is your first experience, like if WandaVision was your first experience into the MCU, they could have blown this wide open had they chose to do so, and people could have caught up and, by watching the Infinity Saga, and it would have given you everything that you need to get acquainted and know what you're dealing with. I feel like, they've got to trust the audience more to understand that the audience is here for it. Like, we want it to get outrageous. And maybe that'll happen with some of the other shows. We'll see. But it didn't happen to the level that I was hoping it would for WandaVision.
Right. I agree. We got Frozen 06 with the $10 holla. Thank you. He said, everyone can observe the same event and have a different account as to what happened. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very, very true. This is a big testament as to what the hell we're gonna have to go through next. Is just get the hell over it. Big Stevie W with the $5. Thank you again. He said, next debate 8 topic. Top 8 theories that the WandaVision finale crapped on. That would be a good, interesting one for sure. The homie player 2 with the $2. He said, Josh, it was Agatha all along. Most definitely was. Nobody. We all seen that coming.
Exactly.
You got Josh Hill Nikki with the $5. Thank you. He said, I just want the acknowledgement of mutants in the MCU already. P.S. Take my money. Yeah.
That's what's up. Appreciate you, man.
There, man. I'll say all you gotta do is wait a week.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think it's gonna be that soon, man. I think that they are going to slow boogie their way to mutants at this point. Like,
they're very slow doing it,
and it's going to be very deliberate, which I actually prefer that, and that's why I'm not too mad that they didn't really dive too much into it in WandaVision, because it's like, if you're going to do mutants, you better do it right, and right. I think that's what Feige's goal is that he wants to make sure that when he blows the lid off the mutant situation, it happens in a way that really ups the game, because that's what's supposed to happen when you start talking mutants, X-Men, and all of that. It's supposed to be a game changer. So like having it as just some, random mention in WandaVision to me is not doing it justice. So I think they're going to build their way up to that slowly.
Talking about blowing the lid off of things, I see it blowing off like a manhole cover, and lots of manhole covers have a few little holes in them for some small leaks. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I think that's the biggest reason why they still wanted a theatrical release for Black Widow, is because of some of those rumors that we're forgetting about now because it's been so long, said that they were mentioning mutants. So I feel like they're slating that because there's going to be at least a decent mention of mutants in there for one reason or another. And again, if you look at it, once they start, if things had went in the lineage that they were supposed to, we would have gotten Black Widow on time, which would have mentioned mutants in some kind of small way. Then we would have gotten Falcon and Winter Soldier, which would have backed up whatever's going on in Black Widow. Which I'm still sure they're going to mention stuff that's happening with mutants one way or another, because we're getting closer to the General, and we're getting closer to secret projects. That's widely rumored, especially with them going into the Hulk. So I think if we got them in lineage, by the time we had got to Wanda, this is why I keep saying I think this is important, because if we got Black Widow mentioning mutants, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier first mentioning mutants. When we looked at Wanda, we would have probably looked at her more or less as a mutant, instead of looking at it as some kind of just plain old sorceress supreme in a way. As just the Scarlet Witch. We know Scarlet Witch in the comics is a wide known mutant. So if we had gotten those mentions and then finally got to Wanda after what we were supposed to, we would have been like, well, damn, technically we just got a whole season, whole 8-9 episodes of a mutant's struggle, plainly. But we didn't get it the way we were supposed to. So now we're looking at it as this shit sucks because we didn't get what we wanted.
Right.
In aspects. Not for everybody. Not for everybody. But in aspects. I don't mean that widely. Like I know Al was about to be like, hold on, motherfucker. I've been saying.
No, man. I'm off the soapbox now, man. I'm here for the comments. I'm here for the comments.
Let me say it this way. In the end, we got a thing that has people talking about it in many different aspects.
Facts. Big facts.
So we got Max Ross with the $4.99. He said, head to the corners for a second. Answer me this. Can one of y'all give me a Ralph Boner and someone else give me a we don't do that here? That's funny.
I will grant you your Ralph Boner. There you go.
Right. We don't do that here.
Yes, there you go. Appreciate you, man.
Right. Stephen J with the $5 said, as a man who has spent the last 9 weeks terrified that Feige was going to drag this mess of a Fox franchise into the MCU, I was relieved by the boner.
I respect it. I respect
only
it.
Time you will hear me ever say that live. No offense to anybody.
Elisa, can you cut that, please? And can we use that?
Yeah. No, don't use that for nothing. Just cut
it.
Anyway.
Let's use it. Clip that and let's use it. I need a Did of Nerds ad with my man saying that.
She's over there hitting the record and stop button. Which one of y'all want? You want me to record it or not?
Right.
We got Jonathan Velasquez, the homie, the $2. He said, play the Agatha remix again for old time's sake, please. And I believe you actually fulfilled that without knowing that he asked for that.
Hey man, I had a premonition.
Yes, good job. My man Al's getting up there in that energy, y'all. Like, hey, we should come out with our own little cards and show
there you go.
Our power level.
There you go.
Power level's over 9,000. It's off the chain. That's my hood Vegeta. His power level is off the chain. We got Nerds at the Roundtable back with the $4.99. He said, do you guys think Namor will still be, or excuse me, he said NM, I'm just using this Namor, but I think he means Nightmare, will be the Doctor Strange villain, or Wanda will? Do you think that could be why SD left as director? Awesome stuff, guys. Okay, so I forget. I think you mean Scott Derrickson. Uh, I feel like Scott Derrickson left because they were not doing Nightmare. That was the person that he wanted to do, and Feige shut that down and said they were going to go a different route. But they had creative differences because of that.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to do a story. Feige had different direction, and that was that.
Right.
You don't like it, you quit.
Hey, if you don't know by now how this system works,
right,
then you ain't been paying attention to the MCU.
right. So no, it's not going to be Nightmare. And it's definitely going to be Chthon, and it's going to be both of those. It's going to be Chthon, and the thing with Chthon is everybody like don't be too scared of because it's widely known that the MCU will take fragments of other characters and mush them into one, and then call them just one main name. And I didn't realize it, but they totally did that in Iron Man 2 with Whiplash. Whiplash is actually a couple different characters they smushed together, and boom, that's who you got. So Chthon could definitely easily be MCU version of Chthon himself mixed with Nightmare and Mephisto, and they could easily appease people that way. But it's definitely still going to be Wanda as the bad guy, whether she likes it or not. I don't think Wanda's going to come out of this anti-hero role or villainous role until the end of Doctor Strange. Then one way or another, I think it'll go back to her being the nice, cuddly, lovable person that we would like for her to be. She'll never be unbroken, but she'll probably be a source for other characters who come in who are broken to go to in the future. That's what I think they're gonna do with her in the end.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it sounds nice, at least for a Disney Marvel kind of play. We got Ryan Carter with the $9.99. He said, "How will you feel if Mr. Boner turns out to be Quicksilver down the line? That scene just seems too weird to be nothing. Electric Bill, photo, laughing at his own name, not explaining powers, just seems sus." Yeah, I totally agree. And it could turn out to be. That's what I'm saying. That's one of the things that's left on the table. We don't know if he's Quicksilver for real or not. He could totally be Quicksilver from another dimension, and somehow he got pulled into the multiverse when the snap happened, or something broke when they went back in time, and FBI got a hold of him, and he's just playing dumb. You know what I'm saying? He could just totally be playing dumb for whatever reason. I mean, why would he be in witness protection anyway? Got to be something serious. FBI could put me in witness protection just because my girl found out something. You know what I'm saying? So he's on to something. Then we got Lisa Scott. Thank you, Lisa, with the $5.
Appreciate
she said, just wanted to pop in and say that if nothing else, the division over the show goes to prove that people care. You can't hate on anyone for that. And that, big facts.
And that's why we fools with you, homie, because you gets it. You gets it.
Mother flipping. See. So we got Rogue Soul coming in with the $5. He said, Alisa with the facts. Remember what Vision said. What is grief but love persevering? This is very true. And as we grieve over how the ending of WandaVision was, we know that it's because we love it. That's the only reason why. We got Player 2 again with the 2. He said Bill and Ted 3 was a good movie though.
Still need to see that.
I seen it.
Still need to see that.
Hey, it had me laughing. I went into it as empty as I do most things that I watch and let it fill me up. And I forget what movie came out again around that time. It was between that and there's another movie that came out. Everybody was comparing it to, and I think Bill and Ted were on. Oh, it was Tenet, I believe. Back when movies were trying to release, and I actually didn't lie. I liked Bill and Ted better.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
It was that. It might not have been Tenet. It was something else, but yeah,
I remember totally that.
Because that's what it was. It was Tenet, but I think Tenet had more of a theatrical release. And while Bill and Ted did come out in theaters, it made most of its money on a streaming service. That's what it was. And the ratings on that, people were rating this Tenet based on just a movie, and it was like, is it fair to even go back and forth? That's what it was. But I like Bill and Ted. I agree. Anyway, we got Charlie DeNoho. Hey, make sure you keep that last name. It's gonna save you in the future. He said, "Why does he have super speed? So Agatha can give people super speed." LOL. Why did the alarm go off when we first see Pietro if he was always in the hex? Okay, now I can kind of answer that latter part of that question about the alarm going off. The alarm was still going off, and that's what that was from when Agatha was going back into the hex. I think the alarm pretty much practically goes off, at least at that point before it expanded. The alarm would go off if it was breached in any kind of way. So her coming in and her going back, her coming out and going back in would set the alarm off.
Right.
Because when from that whole scene, the lineage and the continuity of that, what happens next is they bring back in their drone that they sent in the first place. So nothing else came in, nothing else came out on that end. But we know Wanda was going back in, and at the end of that, um, you gotta think when Wanda goes back in, it's instantly back to the show, however she wants it. So when Darcy was running back in and taking a look at the TV, that's where she was at her point in time back in the hex. And then her seeing Pietro and all that stuff was still happening on the outside as far as the alarm and stuff going off, probably finishing up the drill or whatever the case. But from how I watched it, it goes from her, Darcy running back in, looking at the screen, seeing that Pietro's been recast. And this is all before they bring back in the drone and talk about what happened and all that stuff. And that's why Darcy was kind of already inside there, talking about, hey, it's a guy who got murdered by his own murder squad. She was already in there. She didn't follow him in. So she was already looking at where Wanda had gotten to, because what happens in the hex, the time variance and everything, time is not the same in the hex as it was outside of the hex. So way we were watching it and what was going on, who knows how much, like I said, people were under that hex for so long that they don't even know anymore if they should or should not listen to Wanda. So time for them seemed to be much longer than it was for how we were watching it. It probably happened in a case of a week or so, for us, but for the people in there, who knows? Like, she took them through the 50s, the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows if her jumping through time like that actually had history with those people. You know what I'm saying? They probably felt every bit of going through the 50s, going through the 80s, on top of her nightmares and all that type of stuff. So, like I said, I think people are going to be going back and diving in and watching this for a long time and finding out that there are lot larger implications than we digested off top. That's just how I feel. That's why I say I think people will come back and appreciate it later. But as far as him having super speed, or if she's able to give him super speed, she could easily have maybe put some kind of spell on that necklace that said something or other about him having the abilities of Pietro. And the only thing that could have possibly made that real is Wanda believing it, because she said she never questioned it. So the more that Wanda believed that he was her brother, the more he was able to exhibit those kinds of powers. You know what I'm saying? She let him stay in the house. She had the belief and asked a certain question. She wasn't completely sure he wasn't Pietro, but a lot of his answers, if you look at it, were very deflective and kind of just made her be like, okay, I guess I could buy that. I guess you are him. And the more she believed it in his role in the hex, could have easily given him powers just based off of that. So, I mean, what's it? Wiccan. Wiccan's got her powers almost exactly. So, it came from somewhere. It had to be her influence, because she's the only one besides Agatha who had mad influence. So, there you go. Charlie, that was a good question there, buddy. Let's see. We got Josh Ilnicki coming back with the $5. He said it would have been dope if in that final stinger when Wanda was reading the Darkhold, Mephisto or Nightmare was creeping behind her. P.S. Take my money. That'd been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool, but it's just for the record, still wouldn't have changed my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really think any of that probably would have. And I think I said we weren't going to get a blatant reveal of who the big bad was.
Right.
In this, Fanboy said maybe we'd get somebody like Nightmare Mephisto. We get my man Mark Hamill. You know what I'm saying? As a extreme sweaty fanboy, we would have loved to got Magneto, Professor X. But I really think we were going to get that. No, hell to the no. to the no.
Exactly.
Drew Bell came through with the $5. He said, I don't know what the guy's name in the red t-shirt is, but he's spitting facts about WandaVision. Yes, he was. He had some.
Thank you, sir.
Man, Al here, Alfred Schuler.
Hey, not the full government. Mm-mm.
Not the full government, man. People don't know who it is but your name when it comes up. People type in the chat.
Them people be watching, man.
Then change your name in the chat.
I wasn't looking. Well, I'm sorry. Lavish Blackman was taken.
Hey.
Maybe I should be Lavish Fatman.
I like the part.
Hey, not all of them can be winners.
Black man.
A lavish
black man.
Too close. It's too close, man. Too close.
Right?
Too close.
Daniel Fisher came through with the $5. He said, thank you for your honesty and great discourse, gents. And he hit us with the nerd Avenger emoji. You're very welcome, sir. Very welcome. Ty Log had to be the one to ask this question with the $5. He said, Wonder Woman 84 or WandaVision?
Let me tell you something. I would watch the first 2 episodes of WandaVision and the finale back to back for 3 hours before I would even look at Wonder Woman 84 again. They can keep that movie.
Oh man, I have to agree. I wasn't even thinking about.
Nah, bro.
Like Wonder Woman would have been a great movie if we were for real talking about it this long. Like this is days, and possibly till next week we will still be talking about this, at least as a precursor before we start talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, no.
Before we will ever talk about Wonder
Woman. And I feel like the gist of this like stream has been people thinking that I feel like WandaVision was ass. I don't feel like it was like terrible. It just wasn't like as great as some people were saying it was after the finale. I just was like, I don't see it. But it wasn't garbage. And I will go back. I actually plan on going back to watch WandaVision this weekend because I want to see it like nonstop. Now having like knowing what it is and what it's not, I want to go back to see if I see it from that fanjection perspective and that I can see some of the character development and those type of elements because I wasn't looking for that the first time I watched it. I was looking for, the multiverse to explode open. And again, that has nothing to do with the leaks. I just thought that, okay, they finna do streaming content. They've got room to actually tell these stories and like build them out. And they chose to go into, real psychoanalysis of a character as opposed to like really exponentially building the world out. Which is
progressing the story. Yeah,
right,
I got what you
which
mean.
Is totally fine. That's the creative decision they want to make. Cool, but that's just not my cup of tea. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
But it wasn't true. It wasn't terrible. It damn sure wasn't Wonder Woman. Mm-mm.
No, man, definitely.
The only thing Wonder Woman was a live action Care Bears, and I'm gonna stay talking about it. It was some bullshit.
Forget about that. This is the truth, though. But, player 2, the $2 said it was Feige all along, Al.
Hey, it's always Feige, man. White Suge is always pulling the strings.
Right.
I'm telling you, he knew what he was doing. He's sitting back like
marionettes.
Keep talking, motherfuckers. That's all he's saying.
Right. That's all he's saying. He's over in the back watching all of us talk about it like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that Disney Plus view count at, baby?
Right. Going up. You said you're going to watch it again. Of course you're going to watch it again.
Put another log on the fire.
Right. We got Josh L. Nikki with the $5 a game. Thank you. He said, is the dark hole going to drive her batshit crazy and then she's going to break the multiverse? And all that magic being used is, and Doctor Strange didn't notice? Right. That's the thing, right? That's the huge thing. Is like, how did we have this whole hex show up? And my man, Doctor Strange, not batting eye, being right there in New York. And this happened over in New Jersey. So I don't know. I'm hoping Spider-Man 3 maybe explains that. Maybe what she is doing in the hex, especially in the area she did it in with that dark catacomb basement being there. Who knows if crazy stuff isn't happening in tandem over in New York, and that's why he's all tied up in the first place. You know what I'm saying? We don't know.
Right.
We're only watching Wanda right now. So maybe they would have had that. That's why you got to watch the visuals, okay? So they put Wakanda, and they kind of alluded to Atlantis. What movie was that? Was it Civil War, or was it Winter Soldiers? One of those two. In the background, they had a map up.
Oh,
and it
I
had
got you.
unknown area. It said it was pretty much where Wakanda was, but just like unknown area. It was an Easter egg.
Yeah.
So, maybe a few months from now we'll come out and we'll see something else in the sword facility we didn't pay no attention to that was alluding to something else happening somewhere else.
Right.
They've done that to us, man. We didn't find it out for months. So who knows? But yeah, the Darkhold might not drive her crazy. It will most likely drive her or something else might drive her crazy, and she may use the Darkhold as an ends to her means. I'll say that. But yeah, so we got Proxy with the $4.99. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
He said, "Can you even talk about Ralph anymore? How does it feel having a boner pop in your mouth?" See what you did there. A lot of us will just take it in stride.
Now I'm gonna call him RB.
Right. Now we ain't saying it no more. XR Coon said it was Iron Man 2. Well, good job. Yeah, in Iron Man 2, it was Iron Man 2. Well, they kind of were talking Wakanda way before we even got it. So we got we got R&R Jet with the $5. Thank you. He said Ralph chuckled when Monica said boner. Maybe he's Quicksilver after all. But why would he be scared when released by Monica? Damn it, Feige. His is with that raging. Do you have any idea why he would be scared?
I mean, I just chalked that up to one of those wait a minute, what the hell's going on kind of situations where he doesn't really realize that he was under a spell. And in that moment, he's just trying to get his bearings and find out what the hell's going on.
Right. That's where
I took that.
Yeah, me too. It was like he went instantly from trying to beat her ass to, hold up, that's not who I am.
And
maybe
Go ahead. No, finish your thought.
Maybe he revealed more to her off screen than we realized after that moment. Because I don't think she would just straight up leave his ass alone. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
who knows?
Here's one of the things, and we didn't talk about this, but I do have to mention this. I find it very intriguing that the leaks that we received, out of all the shit that leaked for the finale, the one thing that was proven correct was the fact that that Pietro's necklace was the source of like the spell that he was under. Like, that just strikes me as odd that we get this leak that has all of this information, and the one thing that ended up being true was the one thing that you and I both was like, there ain't no way in hell that's gonna be that's gonna be part of it.
Right.
Just thought that was strange. Don't know what about it, but that's weird. That's the one thing out of it. Hey.
Yeah. Out of all of it, that was a
strong troll vibes, I presume.
Yeah, man. Most def can't argue with that. And then of course we had Fan Jackson come through with the $1.99 over there trying to give out about the Civil War II Edition. Man, can't trust a nerd Avenger, no way. It's all good. We still love you, man. We got Mike Motherflipping Porter come through again with the $1.99. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, man.
He said, how do you rank WandaVision in the MCU? So, how do you rank it?
I mean, that's a tough question because that's like there's nothing in the MCU that you can compare to WandaVision because WandaVision was an episodic piece of content, and we haven't had, and everything has been feature-length films in the MCU proper. Like, I'm not talking about the Daredevils and Luke Cage and all that. That was not directly tied to the MCU. So it's hard for me. Ask me that question after we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Low-Key, some of these other Disney Plus shows, because right now I feel like it would be unfair to compare WandaVision to any of the MCU movies because I could probably name I could name 5 right off top that would be better than WandaVision. And if you gave me a few minutes, I could probably give you at least 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of 10, we got the RG2088 coming through with the $10 holler.
Hey,
he said, I wanted this show to have high stakes and consequences and also feel like a true emotional tragedy for Wanda. We got a safe version of that where they wrapped it up in a nice bow. It felt too clean. Yeah, it felt a little too clean, but you got to think, it's Disney. They're not going to go full comic book out of that. They're not going to show her kids basically melting down and breaking into fragments and screaming for at the top of their lungs for help, like talking about. You kind of got that payoff a little bit at that post credit scene where they're asking and crying for help. And oh yeah, that reminds me. Earlier when Josh was talking about how she just put in the bed and went to sleep, essentially killing her kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the most humane way to do it on screen, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean that I didn't really fault the show too much for that. My bigger beef with it
gonna be hard.
And I'll tell you straight up that scene was, did have some emotion to it. Like that, I remember sitting there watching that with my wife and being like, "Damn, that's deep." But to me, they totally they undid the weight of that scene at the end when you hear her kid screaming. Even if that's a trick from Cathan or Nightmare or whoever it might be, like that still takes away from the gravity of that scene because we know that the kids are coming back.
I think they messed that up in the beginning period. If you really want to look at it that way, just by mentioning the fact that we're going to get Young Avengers and that the kids were going to be in the first place. If Feige had never said that, then this show would have held more water. I think when it comes to the storyline of what's going on with Wanda and Doctor Strange, that storyline is kind of, I'm not going to say ruined. I'm not going to say ruined because, we're still going to watch and see how it unfolds and how they get there.
Right.
But the fact that we already know that certain elements are going to survive, period, I feel is going to diminish the story no matter how you put it, period. And you're just going to have to look at Wanda and Doctor Strange until this little part is concluded for what it is. And then hopefully in the future, Feige won't tell us shit no more. To me, that's where it comes down to. It's not the leaks. It's not us making our expectations. He already told us some things to where before he didn't tell us shit. And this is why.
Yeah. I still don't think though that I don't think WandaVision itself is going to change anything about the way White Suge has been doing business or how they've been choosing to market these shows.
Yeah.
This is still a proverbial blip on the radar for them. This show still did incredible numbers. It still has a lot of acclaim. Like people are, I think the general consensus is that the show was, it was a good show. There is a contingent of fans that have issues and have a problem with it, but nothing near to the level where they have to do any type of, course correction. Nah, they just keep it. They can keep it moving.
Ain't no Justice League.
Oh hell no, it wasn't. no. Let's be clear. It wasn't a bad series whatsoever, in my opinion. It just wasn't what I was expecting, and it didn't hit as high of a note as I thought it would. But I mean, it was for what it was. It was decent. It was decent.
There were points that they could have hit that apparently either they did and took out, or they just didn't and missed those points.
Yeah,
but it wasn't enough to be like, oh, this show deserves to be put away in the vault and forgotten about. I don't think it wasn't that fucking bad. I don't think anybody's saying that. They could have done a little better. That's all. But it's cool.
Yeah.
We got Mike Haas with the $5 holler. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, man.
In the 80s, the trial of Magneto kicked off. X versus A. So it was X-Men versus Avengers. This will be the new trial of Wanda, and Wanda will be branded a mutant still. Love you guys. Right. And that's what I was essentially saying. Right now, we're looking at it as, Wanda doesn't know what she's doing. She's got her powers from the Mind Stone, blah, 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 blah. And then when I think they start getting more into mutants, period, it'll really come out that, no, the Mind Stone didn't give her powers. She already had powers, and the Mind Stone it amplified it. She felt vision because part of the Mind Stone at that point where it showed itself to her was because, oh, you have this power. You're like, I can get with you. All right, I'm down. This is the future we're going towards because this is your future. That's what I'm around for. And then boom, it just amplified. I feel like honestly it's gonna come down to this is actually the first series, and I wouldn't be surprised if because Disney Plus has moved some things around and made it a little easier for you to go through the phases and a little X-Men area. They have all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they wind up moving WandaVision into a mutants area, because we're going to be looking at it as Wanda is and always has been a mutant. They just never said that. And you got a whole series or whole season, like I said, 9 episodes of watching this mutant go through grief. And that'll probably change your perspective on a lot of people, especially newer people who have to go back and watch it. They'll probably see that too.
Yeah, I saw it. I just didn't give a damn.
Right. Like, that's the thing too.
I didn't care.
Right. People were asking for mutants and didn't realize they already got it. But
there you go.
It is what it is. So you got Q Coletti with the $4.99. Thank you, sir. Said, by Agatha saying the Scarlet Witch is born that way, isn't that kind of leaving room that she's a mutant? Exactly. Right. The fact that she said that she's born to destroy the world means she was born with that power. It was not something that was unlocked. Because they already said everybody else didn't put up against that. They died. Which, it kind of begs the question on Pietro, too. Like, was he possibly destined for something more? Because he also got powers. You know what I'm saying? Who knows about their lineage? Maybe those are her real parents. But they'll do a Marvel explainer in the MCU where back in the day that they were all related to Natalia or whoever. I forgot her real mom's name. But, the Maximoffs just have power. And it wasn't something that was unlocked until recent times. Who knows?
Right.
We got Logan Moe with the $4.99.
Appreciate you, man.
I know you guys talked about this, but the sweatiness is what made this show cool and the theories. And they made it for normies who don't care. Yeah. I don't know. Those normies, who was it? Wasn't Dirt Wizard? Another one. Was it my man Keaton Haas? Who hit us with the super chat talking about his mama watches this and she had no idea what's going on but loves the show.
Right.
I think they've just found a way to hit it on different points. Period.
Yeah.
Whether people cared or not, they found something to enjoy.
They will take the feedback. They'll look at people's comments on how the show went, and that will be used to help kind of mold or evolve the content moving forward to where maybe they give you a little bit of both, where it's surface level, but they give you more significant nods for the sweaties. Because that's kind of what, if you think about it, not WandaVision, but what Mandalorian did post Rise of Skywalker was they actually went back and reevaluated what it was that people had an issue with the sequel trilogy. And they basically gave that to you in the Mandalorian series without hitting you over the head with the fan service. That's what, and so I think, as the MCU moves forward with this streaming content, they will take the feedback and it's just going to help them improve. So again, it's just the first series and a number of
you said it right.
that are coming. So just first series.
No,
you're gonna make me slap some of this nerd coin down too. You keep playing with me.
Hey, trying to tell you, it's the first season.
You don't want me to take your money.
You ain't taking my money, so I ain't worried about it.
You're gonna keep it up.
Essentially,
you better be like, I'm not a betting man.
You ain't taking my money. I ain't worried about it. You want to slap something down and give me some more? Give you some more? I'm sure. I'm down.
Nah, man. Like, and here's another thing about that bet too. We ain't pulling no technicalities now. It's got to be either WandaVision season 2 or the Vision show or the one. Look, I'll give it to you even if it's one or the other. But don't tell me, oh well, technically this.
This is my ultimate point. He was saying it would be put in a different tab other than WandaVision. My entire point is, if they take WandaVision, I don't care if they tweak the picture, the name. I don't care if you go in that tab and it says season 2. And season 1 is everything we just watched.
Oh yeah, that counts. That counts.
That counts.
But if you give me,
if they change the name and they put it on a different tab, it's nothing to do with WandaVision.
What I'm saying is, if they do the Adventures of Agatha Harkness, that's not WandaVision season 2.
Right. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't give me that bullshit where it's like, well, no, they got Herb in the show now, so no.
Even if they did Adventures of Vision and they did not pop it in the WandaVision season 2,
right? That's not a sequel.
Saying season 2, then it's not a sequel. Right?
Okay, exactly. fair. That's all I want to be clear about. That's all I want to be clear about.
Right. No, if it's something different, and I'm not saying like it can't allude to nothing like that. If they make Wanda and the kids and Vision and all of them in it, it's their family, but they didn't put season 2 WandaVision, I lose. That's what it is.
That's what's up. All right, bet. 2. Okay, cool. So I just wanted to make sure we was clear.
Yeah, no, it has to say season 2. I'm saying there's going to be a season 2. Period.
Bet.
So it's got to go in the same tab as the season 2. It's gonna suck if it technically is a season 2 and they completely separate it in a different tab in the season 1 of that new show. I still lose, but that's bullshit because we all know it's still alongside. But I will take that as I will take that L if that happens. I will still take that L. So he did forget it. Okay, I thought so. Anyway, we got Logan Moe with the $1.99 again. Thank you. He said MCU found out finales ain't nothing to play with.
No, bro.
They totally found that out. Totally found it. Paul Bettany found out you need to quit joking.
Yeah, look, from now on, Paul Bettany might not say shit. He might not say nothing. Because he'll be like, you know what? Nah, bro, I don't need this heat. I don't need this heat.
Right. He found out.
You cannot play with fanboys' emotions like that.
Right.
They take that shit serious.
Yep. They take that very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
They take that very seriously. Here in the MCU. Here in the MCU, we take Wanda
very seriously.
For sure.
Oh man, I can't wait till we can start giving out nerd coin for people that get them references.
Yes, I will totally. Right now, I'm giving out points in the Discord for people who get stuff like that. So,
nice.
Pretty soon. Yeah. If we ever say on the show, if you're in the Discord and we ever say here on the show, however many points now, and now Al, I have to explain this to you. So now I will have to translate this if Al decides to get crazy, and it's like 1,000 points. In the Discord, I can't give you 1,000 points, but I'll give you something that's at least equivalent to. So if we say we're giving out points on the show, we're giving out points to you on the Discord.
Is this like a food stamp to real dollars conversion?
It ups your level. Okay. I'm not really supposed to talk about this, Al.
Okay,
but I'll say this. We are devising a way that the points in Discord will have good value for the things that we're doing in the den. That is the most politest way that I could put it.
See, I just be in the dark. Nobody tell me shit.
You know about these. Don't let him fool you. You see, yeah, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to.
I know nothing.
You're trying to Pietro me. That's what you're trying to do.
Hey man, it's in the name of R&B.
Right. Hey, shout out to the homie Nail Boogie.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. That song was cold. We got Josh Hill, Nikki with the $5. He said, "Hey, I was also kind of bummed that White Vision didn't turn into Ultron when he went into the I don't know what that is, but that could have helped drive Wanda over the edge for real." Yeah. It could have, but I think toward that point they were kind of done in small ways.
Yeah. With
Wanda and her grief trip. And by the time White Vision showed up, they were kind of finished with that. But to what Josh is talking about with, at first the people are like coming after her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fix it." But then they overwhelm her, and she tries to choke him, but then she releases him, and then she tries to break the hex, but then she tries to save her kids. To me, how I took all that in the end is she's not. Just because you get to the end point of any kind of grieving process, just because you get to the end point of any kind of addiction process, does not mean that those triggers are done. Does not mean that those triggers are gone. Okay? Coming down to the acceptance parts of it, I'm not sure if it was you, Al, who said it just recently. You said just because you get to the end of that doesn't mean that you moved on. Moving on and accepting something are two completely different things. Okay? You can accept that she can accept the fact that she can't have her dream home and life with the kids and the husband and everything for right now. But that don't mean that moving on for her means, okay, then I'm just going to abandon this idea. Moving on could be, okay, how the hell can I actually make this real? Because a lot of people alluded to the fact that she can bring things back from the dead. It's not, to me, it's not that she can't bring it back to the dead, or she can. It's more or less she can create a new version of reality. Right. She has power over creating things and making it tangible. We know that she can make it tangible because when my man came into the hex on that safety net, when it got broke, when she blicked him out of there, the end of it was still a jump rope in real world. It was still that in real life. So on some level, she can manifest things in the real world. It's just however she was doing it innately without knowing how to do it didn't stick for people like for her children and stuff like that. And I think that's what she's going to wind up learning come the time for Doctor Strange 2 to come in. She'll be able to actually manifest real things and affect reality on a real life level, not just in a dome or a hex of some sort. So we got a taste of that for now. Uh, but that was a good one though. Yeah. I'm not, and I am confused about the Ultron thing because they did have James Spader credited uh on IMDb. I don't know if that's an accident. Maybe there's a small little tether of something that we didn't hear or missed, but I don't know. They had a few things with this show that was like, dude, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
In the end of it, for sure. Rogue Soul came back yet again with the $5. Thank you, sir. Said Wanda is a Nexus being, and the comics are technically canon alongside MCU. She should have reacted the same as she did in the comics. Not really. Like I said earlier, yes, she's a Nexus being. That constantly means that she is a force that energy flows through in the multiverse, which is why she's so powerful. She has a set energy. She is set, period. Mm-hmm. She is a link practically in a whole chain that comprises of the multiverse. Okay, so she is important. If you remove this chain, if you remove this link, it's like the ancient one said, how you get that little tether line. That's a different timeline of things through the whole structure. That whole structure timeline that she showed him in the end game or whatever. Imagine that being a part of the multiverse, and it's that color because these beings who exist in this multiverse make that orange. But there's another tether that's red. There's another tether that's blue. There's another one. And all these characters maybe have a different influence on the multiverse, but they all need to exist constantly in order for it to sustain itself. So, and again, when it comes down to her reacting in the comics, they're not ever going to take a comic and give you a real life adaptation of it. Ever. It's always going to be their interpretation, and it's the most simple interpretation that they can give you. So there's no way she could react the same in the comics, verbatim, I guess if you want to say it that way. But she did react the same as in the comics in certain elements. You know what I'm saying? When she had her breakdown, instead of her breakdown being because of her losing her kids, she had a breakdown because she was lost and alone from not having anything. You know what I'm saying? So they took some elements and changed them to work for their story. So that's how you're just gonna have to look at it, my man. That's all it is.
No doubt.
Let's see here. I got a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple more that popped in, but I got a couple more I'm still getting to. We got Rogue Soul coming back with the $2 because I know he forgot Keanu as Ghost Rider or bust. I was looking for that at the end of the other one. I was
like, exactly. I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
Right. It's like, I know my man didn't forget. This is his tagline. That's how I know. We got Josh Hill Nicky just came through with the $20 holler. Thank you, sir. You try to rack up that nerd coin.
Mm-hmm.
He said, do you think when Wanda saw the Darkhold and realized what kind of knowledge was in it, that she was doing a misdirect by sacrificing the Hex and her family to gain the knowledge from the book to create them right away? Al, you got anything you want to say?
She could. I mean, it could be. I mean, that's. I guess that's where it. One of the possibilities as we move forward that we could, see is that maybe she was trying to, she figured, okay, the way that I did this was the wrong way to go about it, but maybe there's a way for me to do this correctly. Or to correctly harness his magic. So, and maybe that's the catalyst for what, we see in Doctor Strange. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It could go in any number of directions. But one thing is for sure, we won't know until we see it.
Yes, this is definitely true. And yeah, I totally agree with what Al said. Yeah, I wouldn't call it misdirect. I would say, again, she has so many things pointing at her like, yo, like when she spoke to Pietro on the Halloween episode, and he was like, he pretty much agrees. Like he was like, oh, you know what? Shit, I think this is great what you're doing. Actually, it's impressive what you're doing. I just want to know how you did it. That was Agatha just pretty much agging her on being like, yeah, of course, this is the greatest thing ever. You're not doing anything wrong. How'd you do it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're gratifying that person. People who are gratified often feel like they can tell you more things, more secret things. Maybe she would have came out and been like, oh, you think this is great? All I had to do was say blah, 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 and she'd have been like, okay, and done that. But she didn't know who Wanda was. So in the end, when she unlocked those people, they were like, yo, I'm having your nightmares. I don't really even think that people were fully taken out of the mind control. I think just that part is what she lifted to use against Wanda, because the reason why I think a lot of people don't like that fight between her is because as much as it was physical, it was just as psychoactive as well. They both did a lot of psycho powers to each other, to where like even Wanda crept up behind her and took her back to where she was being burnt at the stake, you know what I'm saying, and try to use that against her. And then Agatha turned that back around and was like, "Oh no, but you're the Scarlet Witch. You're more of a threat than I am." You know what I'm saying? They went back and forth in that fight. That fight wasn't just them throwing energy beams at each other. It was them trying to mentally win over the other. And in the end of that, that's where she put that hex on her. In a way, she put the hex on Agatha to be cursed to always be that nosy neighbor. So, like I said, people go back and look at it and digest it as a whole. I think those who were probably following super close for a sweaty interest are probably the most happy out of how we got this season than those who are respectively like Al, who want the whole thing to grow. We don't want just bits and pieces right now. Okay, that's cool, but no, I want to see the whole story. How it like. We got a little bit of that, but not enough that was satiating for those viewers. So,
what he said.
There's my right. That's what I say. There's my long-winded ass answer. We got OG fan coming back with $5. He said, "Left for dinner before the first super chat got back, and you guys are still rocking it. I know one thing about WandaVision: not as good as After Dark. I have spoken."
And there you have it. What that man said. What that man said.
From the people.
No doubt.
Well, we love you guys.
For real. Then we got this last one. Look, I can catch this one because I got it. From the homie Whitney. Hey, I hope I did you proud, man. I tried my best to make sure we had flame. So I hope I helped you out. But with the $4.99, appreciate you said, apparently the mention of points piques people's interest. SMH, you know who you guys are. Yeah, that's the perfect note for us to end this very, very, very controversial stream on by the Denim Nerd standards. Is this? It really doesn't matter how you feel about these episodes. I'm not going to judge you whether you loved it, whether you hated it. But when we have these discussions, if you think you're going to scare one of us or make one of us come off of a point, hey, man, it ain't happening. Because the one thing that us in this community will tell you is that no matter what happens, it is Den of Nerds all along.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to say it a little more Batmanically correct. You can throw that in this.
Uh-oh, yeah, we're going to have to add that to the book.
It doesn't matter who we are. All that matters is our plan.
That's right.
The fire rises. I'm giving points to anybody who knows what that is. That was easy.
Mm-hmm.
My man Fan Jection had to come through with the $1.99. Said Alan Lavis are the GOAT. We tried. Thank you, sir. We tried. The Bodacious Black Bat said, I missed your super chat. Well, I told you, just at me just like you did. Put that super chat in there and I will read that because you already popped it in, man. So I will.
Oh man, you can always tell when the 12-year-olds start showing up and commenting. You can always tell that.
It gets me though. It's late. Shouldn't they be eating dinner or something?
No, this is the weekend. So the parents then left them at home while they didn't go and get some adult time. So they sitting at home behind the keyboard thinking it's time to rock. They're like, I'm about to say all this. I'm trolling everybody. I've got to.
They said troll.
I'm using Google without the parental controls now.
They're over there like man dark. Ha ha ha.
Right.
I'll get you after dark crew. Ha.
Oh my God. You
That's
gotta love them.
funny.
You gotta love the kids, man. They fun. They fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, for the children.
Yes.
It's always for the children. Bodacious Black Bat was your super chat the bats? Is that what it was? No, yeah, no, yeah. If I missed anybody's super chat, I apologize. I did my best.
Yeah, man. This was a spicy one, man. We was
1,500 is good. It's a lot.
It was flying earlier, man. Like
right.
It's a lot of emotion, a lot of passionate opinions today. I like that. I like when we can be able to do this. It's very healthy. It's cathartic.
And before we get out of here, I'm gonna like to end this on a good note.
Let's do it, man.
End this on a purple drink mode. So I want to see some purple man emojis for those who are excited for the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh man, yeah, we gonna definitely. Maybe we'll do like a little preview next week on After Dark. We'll get into that.
Yes, most definitely. I'm down.
And Wit, I love you right back.
Yes.
Man, I love all the people. We love all the people. Speaking of people, hey, let me do this. I'm gonna do this. Let's see where we want to go with it. I want to go throwback. Let me get some white sugar emojis. Let's do. We don't go too far back. Let's go white sugar emojis. If anybody's talking about being in that Discord later and kicking it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let me get some white sugar emojis. If we gonna be cranking up the jukebox and kicking it in Discord. Who talking about it today?
Right. Most def. Make sure you come to the Discord, come and kick it. We be in there kicking it. Make sure that if you're a Nerd Venture Prime member, you come back tomorrow.
Catch Josh. Yes.
In the morning on that business stream, and then again through the week on the morning streams. We got Fair Ejection Tuesdays with the Debate 8. We promise it's not rigged. We got Darren's Danger Room on Wednesday nights. You have us on Thursday again on After Dark.
Yes.
So make sure you just become a Nerd Venture. If you ain't became a Nerd Venture, I don't know what you doing with your life. I'm gonna have to put that on a shirt so I can quit saying it.
Trying to tell you, man. Trying to tell you. I don't know what y'all is thinking, but appreciate you.
Yes. My man Luke Macaron with the 499 said, "Love the grind, keep it up." You know it, man.
Appreciate it, man. You know how we do.
We know it, man. It's how we
know how we do.
Low key, how many people's out there looking for Umbrella Academy? Not even on nobody's radar right now, is it? Watch it pop up out of nowhere.
Right.
We're gonna get all them little watch. It's gonna be hard out here for a pimp pretty soon. Hard out here for these Nerd Avengers pretty soon with all this content slaps them in the face all year.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
But we deserve it. We deserve to drown in content this year.
Yes. And the drought is over. Officially.
Yes.
Officially, it is over. And you know what else is over?
This mother flipping show.
You already know, man, because you ain't got to go home.
Yes.
But you got to get the hell up out of here.
Yeah.
This was a good one, man.
Yes, it was.
We appreciate y'all hanging with us. Told y'all we was here for the shits today, so hope we gave you a little bit more perspective on our points of views. And if we didn't, or if you didn't agree, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, we finna get up out of here, man. It's been cool.
Yes, sir.
About to get to this transition from afternoon into after evening or something like that.
Right. The evening after.
The evening after. But yeah, man, we gonna catch y'all on the flip. As always, we will see you in the next episode. Oh, that was good, man. It was
good, man.
That was one of those
clouds to calm us down after such.
I'm telling you, right? Just something nice and tranquil, peaceful to just kind of really just chill out.
I know everybody would probably think it was funny if Josh came back on and he was like, ah!
I know. Hey, look, I was like all bullshit aside, I was kind of wondering if he was gonna pop back in here. And another thing, your mother,
Right.
Like,
right.
I wouldn't have been shocked, bro. Like, I hope I hope he went and found himself something to chill him out.
Yeah.
Cause
he'll find something. One of these days, it'll be his outlet.
Yeah.
But right now, he'd be out there in them streets.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what we do.
That's what we do, man.
You know what we do.
Yes, I do know what we do.
Yes. Why don't you tell the people? I know they listening.
We simply NerdVenge. When do we do it? When do we do it?
All day.
Just keep one more time.